Excellent connection. Yo, YouTubers. Yo, YouTubers. We got 2 viewers. Well, 2 concurrent viewers. Is that a bot? Anybody out there? Medication time. Medication time. Is anybody out there? Just give a bit of time for anyone to arrive. Anyone who wants to join us? Drinking some of my CBD tea. Cannabis tea. CBD. CBD. I've got to wait a while, let everybody arrive. Want to put any comments in the chat to tell me that you're there. You can hear me loud and clear, everything's cool. Oh, I've got my echinacea tea. And it's a great combination. Liverpool won tonight. Liverpool won tonight. There's hope. Right, it says 1 concurrent viewer and 2 playbacks. How can there be playbacks? How can anyone play it back if I'm broadcasting now live? I don't understand. So everybody get into this. It's like assembly. Let all the kids arrive in school, ready for. I haven't really got a script tonight. I'm not really sort of. Well, I've got some things I want to talk about, but what we'll do is we'll sort of wing it and see how it goes, and we'll add to it. Like, hate it when that message comes up and says, "Please check the video resolution. The current resolution is blah 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 blah," but it's going out. It's fine. Don't know why it does that. Just adjust my microphone. Two concurrent viewers. Now it says 3 concurrent viewers. How is everybody? I haven't started talking yet. I'm going to give you a bit of time. We might get a few viewers tonight. I'm not sure. My beard is all tangled. It's tangle beard. Everybody here. I won't say nothing for a while. I've done it a few times, haven't I, where I start talking and people arrive late. So there's no rush. I can sit here for ages. It's not very exciting. What do you think of my sketch, by the way? This is one of my sketches. Oh, you can't see it. How do we do that? I know. Ooh. I didn't know we could do that. Shrinking me thing to the... Let's show. I'll just shrink my image. Yeah, we've got 3 viewers at the moment. Anybody I know? Sorry, I'm a bit boring at the moment, guys. Let's see. Yeah, look at me sketch. That's one of my sketches. And it's... I drew it from... I copied this without scaling it or anything. from Meow Man's service medal. Everyone gets one in the Second World War, service medal. And the reason I upscaled it, basically, I copied it from a coin. You know, didn't use any like graphs or anything to scale it. And I copied it from a coin. And it's like a big picture, you know, a piece of paper. But I blew it up basically because on the coin, because it's only tiny, the image, you can't see that the chimera on the floor, which represents Nazi Germany, has got two heads. Can you see it's got two heads? It's quite peculiar. See, there's one head there. Maybe you see me pointing on the screen. And there's the other head there, but it's like the top of its head. So it looks like a collar, you know what I mean? It looks like a collar around its neck or something, but it's actually another head. It's got two heads. And it's a bit like Rome, which is what I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm going to carry on with my cobblestones kind of thing to get the ball rolling. But yeah, you know, some of the pictures obscured by some of my little thingy-majigs. But you can see that's just a pencil sketch, you know. Well, I copied it from a coin. You know, a medal the size of a coin, basically. But yeah, I don't think anyone would notice looking at that. If you look at the service medal, you can't really tell because it's such a small image. It's got two heads. Just like Nazis. That's what Nazis are like. That's what it is, right? And part of it's off the picture. You can see where the tail's cut, but it's an actual full drawing. You can see the full picture, right? But if you look closely at the tail of the dragon, and it goes all the way to there, it looks like a tapeworm. Like some of it's missing off the screen there, you know what I mean? It'd be like, but it looks like a tapeworm. So I take it that whoever designed this picture, it's like a dragon's body, with claws and the heads. Obviously, it's impersonating an eagle, which is what the Nazis do, don't they? They think they're eagles when they're not really. They're dragons, you see. Dragons in disguise. Chimera, two-headed monster. But yeah, its tail looks like a tapeworm. I remember when I was sketching it going, hang on, this doesn't look like a normal tail. It's like a tapeworm coming out of its backside, basically. So I take it, you know, it eats raw meat or something. You know, it's like, well, you know, when people eat too much raw meat, they get a tapeworm, don't they? So, yeah. I'm quite proud of this drawing. I kind of show off me fine art. I very rarely draw things like exactly as they are sort of thing, because I like inventing imagery, you know, like making things up and that kind of stuff. More of a conceptual artist, I think is the word. But I copied that as best as I could off the coin, you know, as like a sketch. And yeah, quite proud of that, like. Alright, let's get me thingy-me-jig back on the screen. Do 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 do. Right, we've still only got two people watching. It says 5 playbacks. Ah, someone's arrived. Ian Saxon's arrived. Hi, Bruce. All right, Ian. How's it going? I've been taking me time here, waiting for people to catch up in case they came late. So, I feel like a school teacher when I do this. Take assembly. Let's take the register. Ian Saxon's arrived. Good to see you. It's been a while, folks, hasn't it, since I've done a speech? Well, we said talk, like, you know, a live talk, a live stream. I'm just enjoying my cup of it's cannabis tea, you know, CBD tea. With lemon balm and lemongrass and, oh man. I mean, echinacea, which I'm telling you guys, you've got to get onto echinacea. It's amazing. Fights infection. By the way, I got a phone call the other day asking me if I wanted me, me jab for the pandemic, and I don't feel like I need one. You see, I feel like I don't even think. I think even if I caught it, I wouldn't be ill. I wouldn't even be hospitalised or nothing like that. I'm quite a resilient fellow. So I turned them down, like I said on the phone. I'm not being anti-vax or anything. I just actually don't think I need it, you see. And they're like, and the way she spoke, you could see, the sort of a mood. She was like, because they must be expecting everyone to get that jab, you know what I mean? And she was like, oh, well, okay, but we'll be sending you a letter anyway. And you can just phone us back if you need to, So what do you think about that, guys? Do you think when you're offered the jab, are you going to take it? Because I don't know. I don't know if people really need it. Like, I mean, no one I know has passed on or anything like that. I don't know if anyone has been hospitalised and died because of it as of yet. But I'm certainly not taking it. It's not, like I say, I don't think I need it, to be honest. But it's going to cause me a lot of problems. Because I know when it comes to travelling abroad, or, if you want to go busking in Europe or anything like that, or go the Isle of Man or anything like that, they'll probably ask you, if you had the thing, and you say, well, say you lie and say, yeah, I've had it. They'll say, well, where's your thing? Or you've got the card or a number or something. But I don't use a smartphone neither, you see. So what would they do? How would they check? And they'd probably take a test, wouldn't they? Make you take a test. Okay, we've got 3 viewers. Anybody else who know? I'm taking my time starting up on the the pictures, and I'm going to wait a bit of a while in case anyone arrives late. So, if it seems a bit boring and a bit, subdued, it's because I'm taking my time. Waiting for everyone to arrive in case anyone's any late arrivals. It's a laid-back atmosphere. We're taking it easy. We're going to talk about I basically want to talk about continue where I left off from the cobblestones thing. The streets and that with the cobblestones. I have showed people, in the past speeches, if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, that my area where I live is literally surrounded by stone, like big granite blocks under the roads. Which are like Roman roads, aren't they, basically? This is Roman Britain. We've been ruled by Romans all our lives, and we didn't even know. We didn't even know. Okay. Anybody else arriving late? Just confirming that I don't want to, get into us talking. Any of the other viewers want to say hello? So I know I've got a friend in America who usually watches, and he specifically, all roads lead to Rome, exactly. And like I say, our roads here, every road, I wouldn't say every road, but nearly every street and every road has got those big granite blocks underneath, granite. And then every city and every town or whatever, there's an obelisk somewhere, isn't it, in a public place which is made of granite. And that's the power source, right? And that's where I believe fallen angels emerge from. I think they've been cast into the earth somehow. And they're making their way up slowly, and I think they've used granite as the portal to escape and kind of make the way up, into our dimension. And they can't do nothing physical to us, but they can mess with our heads, and they can make people hate each other and argue with each other which means, you know, like when the Bible says principalities, we don't wrestle against flesh. Now, these things are fast. You know, they're really fast. They're like ghosts. They're like Will-o'-the-Wisp or something. They're really swift and fast, and they can go from one place to another. You know, they can travel miles immediately, you know what I mean? They're not like people. You know, if we want to go 5 miles, we have to get on a bus or a train or in a car or something. Like, a principality just, like, it's there at the speed of thought, you know what I mean? And be from what I say, one could be watching me here, and I think they travel around through mirrors as well. That's another thing. That's how they go into people's, you know, because a lot of people use mirrors when they get, the first thing when people wake up in the morning, they're usually brushing their teeth in a mirror, aren't they? There's a song on my channel called Money Go Round. It's worth checking out. I can actually put it on, actually, while we're waiting, like. Yeah. Does anybody want to... Because I know it's a bit of a pain. You know, when people check out someone's channel, it's a bit of a pain, isn't it, going back to, like, check out old uploads, you know what I mean? But if you go onto my channel, and you get... I'll get the page up now. And I'll play a bit of music, eh? So I'll open up my channel. I can't read the thing, by the way. Well, I suppose I could. What's that? Real. Right, okay. Yeah, I'm not reading my comments, by the way, at the moment. So, yeah, I'm going to be talking about Romans and stuff tonight. Some interesting things. I don't know. Some observations that I've always made and that, like. I'm going into my studio. I'm just going to get, like, content. Search across my channel. Alright, I'll just type in, right, and if you go on my channel and you just type in Money Go Round, right, it's called Principalities of Powder. You know what I mean? Powder, like cocaine, right? I'll just pause it at the video. Right, this is the very first upload on my channel. Right, I'm just going to go back to my page. My normal page, right? You still there, everybody? Now, you know when I'm talking about Rome and things like that. I don't want to force feed people with me music, right? But some of my music's just casual music. It's designed to be, you know, enjoyed and listened to. But other things are like, I don't know, like statements, you know what I mean? Like proper statements. Oh, I nearly disappeared there. And I do put the words up on... That's what we'll do, to get in the flow of things, like. Because, you know, I think when I say principalities of powder, not principalities of power. Principalities of powder, just add the letter D. And then think about what cocaine's doing to the world, you know. Like, it's changing a lot of people, you know what I mean? I'm not being anti-drugs. I'm being... Well, it's about mind control, really. I think the more cocaine people take, the more the brains go into, like, it's like a remote controllable brain. Right, so let's get this video on. I'll try and, yeah, we've done it. Right, now I'll put it over here. Okay. I'm still in the corner, aren't I? So, I don't know how many of you have tried this. I'm just going back on my thing. You know, when you go into people's channels, you don't really want to check out old uploads, do you? But I recommend it on my channel, you know what I mean? I don't know how many of you have seen this. And it's a kind of tribute, really, musically. I was kind of influenced by Johnny Lydon. You know, when Johnny Lydon was in a band called Time Zone with an American rapper. I can't remember the guy's name, the rapper's name. Like, he was a black dude and he was a rapper. And it was a collaboration between Johnny Lydon and this rapper. And I just love the style and, you know, the simplicity of it. Like, you know, just minimalistic music, you know what I mean? But I don't know how many viewers have actually seen this video, right? Now, it was completed in 2014, right? And it's the very first thing I put on my new channel. I closed my old channel down, you know. And I started afresh, right? And what I did was that I thought, let's launch the channel with this song, Principalities of Powder. It's actually called Money Go Round, right? And we'll see how it sounds, eh? And I'll put it on the full screen. And you can... I can't actually see the screen, can't I, there, like... So I can see any comments. I can actually read the comments, yeah. Right, but look at the views, guys. 68 views. This has been up since 2014, right? 68 views. 2014. One comment. Only one comment. Can you believe it? 3 likes, no dislikes. And the time it's been up, right? And it's a very important message to me. It's really... It's like, you know, my version of being Johnny Lydon or Johnny Rotten kind of thing, right? So are you ready for a piece of music? All roads lead to Rome, as Ian Saxon has typed in the comment section. So let's go. Check this out. I'll play it in real, you know, in normal time. I'll see what it's like with the volume. Right. So you can see Principality. This is all my work, right? I downloaded all the photographs from the internet. Here we go. The moment you wake up, gotta brush your teeth. That silver line lies just beneath your reflection in the mirror, similar to the note. Invisible money just has to close. The figurehead got you figured out. 'Cause the money go round, doesn't have to shout. You see it in the adverts on your TV. Takes the piss out of people like you and me. Okay. So if anyone likes that, you can go back and search my channel, Money Go Round it's called, and share it with as many as you can. But you see, there was a lot of references there to the 3 6s hidden in amongst the. I'll go through the photographs. Right. Put the pause on, right? And I'll go through some of the pictures, and like, you've got to think about how long ago this was when I did this video, guys, and what's going on. It's like a pandemic that it's like a kind of flu, isn't it, really, or a cold or whatever. Like now, like this scene there, this creature here, right? It's supposed to be the Scarlet Beast, isn't it, right? And I'll put it on the full screen. What do you think? Big Pharma, exactly, Big Pharma. You see the point I'm making, right? Now, look at this. This is from this image. I mean, there's words in front of it, so you can't see his face, but this is from the Tenacious D movie, this actual still shot. And look at, you see the horns on it? It's like an insect. You know, like an earwig or something, or a cockroach. You see his horns, like sort of shiny brown things. That's what I thought, lads. You know, it's from the film Tenacious D. Right, but you see his little goatee beard and everything. Like, now, if the words weren't there, you see he's got kind of pointed teeth or whatever, like Dracula kind of thing. He's like a vampire, like. But it was the way that it's the horns. See the way it's like an earwig or a cockroach or a brown insect kind of texture. See, it's like the tail of an insect. It's like, you know, Beelzebub, I suppose. I don't know. You see, there's not just one devils. There's a few, as far as I know. And as I sort of speed it up and go through all these photographs, right? Where's the one that says? See, there's the Big Pharma image. You see, that's the shelf in a chemist. Now, adverts. How many adverts you see on television telling you, you know, you've got a cold, you've got the flu, you need this, you need that. It's hypnosis, man. It's suggestive persuasion or hypnosis. It puts it into your mind subliminally through the adverts, and you don't think about it otherwise, do you? We don't even think about it. Right, now notice that I put like this. I think he's still in the background in America, you know, since Donald Trump lost the election. They seem to have, because they're back in power, aren't they? Basically, the people who, you know, and I think Obama's still in the background without saying much, like, you know. But this was crazy, wasn't he? He was in some kind of film. I don't know what it was. There's some film. He was supposed to be the devil in a film. And he looked like Obama, like, which is kind of mad, isn't it? Right? There's this picture of Archbishop of Canterbury at the time, kissing the Pope's ring. You see, the imagery in this video is quite powerful, right? So I can't believe it's only got like 60 odd views, and probably most of them views are mine, you know, because I've watched it a few times, you know, because, you know, I put things on YouTube because it's easier for me to just check my demos and the sound of things and stuff, right? And here we see like this big red dragon. The Beast and the Dragon. This picture here, well, that's Mick Jagger, right? Like a drawing of Mick Jagger, right? Now, you know Mick Jagger, you know the Rolling Stones have a song called Sympathy for the Devil, and he says something like, I was there when, you know, when Jesus on the cross said, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? You know, there's a bit of a boast in it, like it's like covert. It's really covert in the music, right? This picture it's Robert De Niro from the film what's it called? Angel Heart. I don't know if anybody's aware of it, like a film called Angel Heart, right? And Robert De Niro plays this character who he calls himself Louis Safair, right? You know, I don't know if you've never seen the film. If you've never seen it, it's quite interesting. I'll try and talk about as many just interesting, I don't know, sort of thought-provoking things in this talk tonight, like. But he plays a character called Louis Safair, you know, Lucifer, Louis Cyphre. And what he's doing is he asks Mickey Rourke, who's a detective, to do an investigation for him, right? And that's obviously at the beginning of the film. You don't see him like that. He just looks like a... But you see his fingernails are huge, man. He's got like, you know, he looks quite beastly in the... It's blatantly obvious, like, but Mickey Rourke doesn't really recognise it all, you know what I mean, right? And what happens in the film is Louis Cyphre, who's Lucifer, right, basically, he sends Mickey Rourke on this investigation, and Mickey Rourke is basically... He's mixing with all these people who are into voodoo and you know, like the island of Haiti, that kind of sort of, you know, like voodoo people, you know, the sacrificing chickens and stuff like that. And then throughout the film, people are getting murdered and done in, right? And then at the end of the... Oh, I don't want to give it away, but anyway, it's Louis Cyphre is making everything happen and doing all these bad things to Mickey Rourke, and Mickey Rourke hasn't got a clue. His character, he's a detective, you know, like a private detective. So he's setting him up, basically. You've got to see it, like, and it kind of sums up what the devil or anyone who's evil or whatever, that's the kind of thing they do. They mock people and challenge them. It's like playing chess, right? And they use people as if, like, the puppets, basically, to break the law or to commit sin, right? Now, here's another advert. This is, you see, Venus. The words are there, you know, my lyrics, look. But in the background, you can see it's for the shaver that women buy called Venus. And the adverts would say, like, you know, like a female voice would say, Venus shaver for all goddesses. And it's telling women to think that the goddesses and encouraging them to get vain and big-headed, do you know what I mean? Because, you know, they're telling them the goddesses, like, you know, there's an advert from breast enlargement. Look at the price. £3,195. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but, you know, I actually prefer small tits. You know, I don't care if a woman's got big tits or not. It's silly, isn't it? Even when they're very small, you know, they're like, you know, some women, they think that they've got nothing if they've got, like, really tiny tits, like, but I don't see anything wrong with it whatsoever. I wish women would get that into their heads or get it into the tits, like, tits for brains, man. Get it into your heads. Women, stop giving these plastic surgeons all your money. Right, now here's the... See this? This is some kind of cold remedy, maximum strength, pain reliever, and it was called 666. I mean, look at that, man. But we know that the 666 means it's Emperor Nero's code name, isn't it? We've spoke about that. I've already talked about that in previous talks. The Emperor Nero's, you know, the people who wrote letters to one another while Emperor Nero was on his way in. Think about Robert De Niro. I'm not blaming Robert De Niro. I know he's just an actor, but you know, the word Nero keeps popping up, doesn't it, right? So that's the code name for Emperor Nero in the Bible. They didn't know if they were communicating to one another. They didn't want anyone to know that they knew, right? Now, the leader of Rome is basically, you know, the leader of Rome is basically this fella at the moment. Right, and they're just puppets. They're the puppet representing what Emperor Nero would have been, you know, what they call a pontiff. Which is the evil one, isn't it, you know, in a kind of human form. And there's a diagram here of Rome from above. I've done a speech on my channel, if anyone wants to find it. It's, you can see the structure of the Vatican from above looks like a snake. Right, so there's the head there with a hat on it and the two eyes, right? And the bit in the middle, all this, what they call St. Peter's Square, where there's a big obelisk, right? A big, you know, granite obelisk. It's the belly of the snake when it's swallowing. You know, when a snake swallows a rabbit or something, you know, like an animal, and it swallows it and it gets in its belly, and there's a bulge, isn't there? Like, you know, now look how sarcastic the Romans are to their own followers. They see everyone who gathers in this square, which isn't a square, remember, it's an oval, isn't it? They see everyone who gathers in this square as food for a snake. Do you see what I'm saying? This is, You see the smaller picture there, you can see the head there with the hat on. It's got a hat on it, look, see, it's like a hat. And there's the two eyes. And it's disguised as a cross. So they are the lambs, the wolves in sheep's clothing, aren't they? They're using crosses and that kind of symbolism. But you can clearly see from above, no one would have been able to see this from above back in the day, would they, when it was all built and everything? Right? All roads lead to Rome, as we say. But you see, the snake's head, you know, like I said, it sort of zooms in, doesn't it? So there's a biggest image of it there. There's the snake's head. There's his belly with the bulge. And remember, when that's full of actual Catholics, when Catholics are all standing there to look at the Pope on the balcony, sarcastically, Rome itself, Holy Rome, or, you know, Catholic Rome, is actually calling its own followers food of a snake, you know, sarcastically, without... The people don't know, do they? They're just going to stand there, all gathered. But they are representing the bulge in the belly of a snake. And obviously, sarcastically, the Pope would have been looking off the veranda saying, they don't realise they're all food in the belly of a snake. You know what I mean? They're even mocking their own followers. But they all stand around an obelisk that's made of granite, you see? All roads lead to Rome. And I've told you, my streets around me, they're all cobblestones and that. See, this video has quite a lot in it, you see. This song, Principalities of Powder. Now, remember what... Today, these days, you know, cocaine is having a massive effect on people, isn't it, you know? And, you know, the mafia and things like organisations like that. If I get shot next week, by the way, you know what's happened. Just finishing my tea. So I'm going to go from one subject to another here and kind of join the dots and get people to realise, if I can, I want Catholics to realise they're being mugged, they're actually being mocked. They're being seen as snake food. Because you're not meant to see this, you'd only see this from an aerial view, you know what I'm saying? And on the irritating part is on the roof around here, there's all statues of Peter and Jesus and all that, and they're just bits of chalk. They're not even real representations. They're just chalk statues. They look like chess pieces or something. All sarcastically placed around here to make everyone think that they're following Jesus or God. It's evil, man. It's completely evil. But yeah, imagine how many people stand there when it's like really full. The belly of the snake is full. And they're having a laugh. You know, a lot of sarcasm. So, and you see, lines, cocaine and mirrors, right? Mirrors and cocaine. A lot of people brush their teeth in the mirror or shave in the mirror, right? It's an easy way of doing it, right? So I've sort of put all these adverts in to subliminally tell people like that, you know, this was a mad one. Hey, where is it, man? There's a product. You see, it's worth watching this video, and you can pause it and check out the photographs. You know what I mean? Because I put a lot of work into it, really. Where is it, man? There's a Gillette product, and the lyrics in front of it, right? You know, because I put my lyrics up. I have got another version of this video if anyone wants to see it without the lyrics, but I put the lyrics up because I want people to subliminally read the lyrics, and it's kind of, it wakes people up, doesn't it? You know, if you tell people, now you see this, the can, see Coca-Cola there, right? You know, Coca-Cola, cocaine. The colour scheme of the Coca-Cola can, right? You know, look at this picture. Where is it? I put so much into this video. I should have got a Nobel Peace Prize. Where is it, man? Just bear with me. Oh, man, where is it? You know, I want Catholics to realise they're being mugged and escape, basically. That's got to be near the end. It's when these pictures flash up really fast. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll turn the sound off. Well, you get what I'm saying. Oh yeah, Philip. I'm late for the show, Bruce. Sorry, I will watch it from the beginning tomorrow. Hope you're doing okay. Yeah, Phil, nice one, man. Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm okay. Yeah, I'll, like I say, you'll be able to watch this all tomorrow if you can't stick around at the moment, like. Well, yeah, I'm talking about, see the red and white of the Coca-Cola. Now, see if I can get this, press play. I've got the sound down. There we go. That's it. Right, do you see that? Right, I'll just pause it. Hold on. Right, what do you see? Yeah. What do you see? Red shoes. Right? With white. This is the Pope's feet, by the way. This is the Pope's shoes. I'm not sure which Pope it is. But you see what red shoes symbolise? Red and white, the Coca-Cola logo. He's the biggest Coke dealer on earth, man. Rome is the biggest Coke dealer on earth. That's what I'm saying. Like, see the red shoes with the white. You know, you look down at it. Most people bow, don't they, when they meet people like that? You know what I mean? So you see what I'm saying? I've got like the image of the red shoes. You wouldn't. I mean, I've actually known people who say, you know, they sell drugs and that, like, and I noticed they wore red trainees. You know what I mean? I thought, whoa, this is strange, man. You know, these are like little things that I've noticed in my observations and that, right? So yeah, I recommend this video to anyone and watch it, like, and here we go. See, in America they've got the big obelisk, right? And they've got the same thing in Rome, haven't they? Obviously. You see what I did there? I turned them. That's the McDonald's logo, right? Now everyone used to say McDonald's put cocaine in the food to make it addictive, and then I've turned it upside down. You see, because my name's Williams. So for comedy, like, you know, there's a bit of a humorous slant on it, right? But yeah, I put a lot of work into this video. Now, this isn't a personal attack, by the way. Here's Prince William. Look, this is Prince William. Now, it's not personal. I'm not having a go at him, right? But if you've ever seen this photograph, you can't really see because of the lyrics in front of the screen, right? But he's doing the horned devil sign, you know what I mean? Now, he's meant to be a prince, remember? I can understand people in the heavy metal world and all that kind of thing being confused by those things. And, you know, that's the way it is. They're just, like, sort of being anti-religious, I suppose, you know what I mean? But you wouldn't expect the Prince of England doing it, would you? So you see what I've done, the triangles, like Buckingham Palace, and the Pope. Buckingham Palace, the Vatican, and the White House, you know, the triangle. So I think it's quite interesting, but if anyone, you know, you want to check that out, it's like, I'm quite proud of this song, you know, but I'm amazed they didn't take me out because of it, like. But it's only got 68 views. 2014, oh my word. It's been there all that time. Okay. So, let's go back onto my main screen. And I want to do... I want to show you some crazy things, right? Now, I'm trying to prove, right, that Rome, when they entered into Britain through Julius Caesar or whoever it was that brought, you know, when they first arrived in Britain, they built Hadrian's Wall, remember? In Scotland, well, you know, Carlisle or whatever, just outside basically the boundary between Scotland and England, isn't it, right? And because that wall was built there and left there, basically Rome has still got a hold over the entire country, basically, secretly, right? they're not obviously going to admit it, right? They're not going to admit it, right? But I want to prove that they do actually see themselves as Romans, right? Because if you look at the style, I've got some photographs here ready to share with you, right? I'm going to show you some crazy things here, man. Let's just shrink the screen. Right, okay. Now here's images of, I'll just get myself back on here. Here is images of Constantine, right? Emperor Constantine, right? Now, what is Constantine most famous for, man? You know, he's basically, he's known for becoming a Christian, right? Now, what have I just showed you, guys? I've just showed you a map from above of the Vatican, which is sarcastically looking like a snake. And all those people who think they're Christians going to see the Pope don't know they're in the belly of a snake, right? So what better idea to have if you were Constantine than to pretend you were a Christian, or pretend you've seen the light and you suddenly want to be good to Christians, but they've built the Vatican to look like a snake that's got, you know, all the people, the followers who call, you know, think of themselves as Christians as well, whether they're Catholics or not, right? They're being mocked and seen as food for a snake, right? So it's obvious that Constantine wasn't being honest. He must have been lying, or, you know, he must have had. But this picture here, right? He must have been deceiving people, right? Wolves in sheep's clothing, right? Anyone who claims to be a Christian or a believer or a follower. And yet just looking at the Vatican from above tells you there's some kind of secret agenda, and it's sarcasm and it's cruel, and it's calling people food of a snake, isn't it? They're in the belly of a snake. But you look at this statue here, right, of Constantine, and this is York. This is in York. This is, you know, like where the Vikings are famous, like for, you know, there's a lot of Viking legacy in York or whatever. But this guy was pretending to be a Christian, remember? Or claiming to be a Christian, right? And you look at the style of the statue, it's like a fine image, isn't it? It makes him look really cool, basically, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It's like a fine, like, statue image of you know. And look at where his hand's sticking out, like, you know, so it's like, he's got the sword in one hand and say, you know, I rule with the sword and that, like. And he's claimed to be a Christian, remember, right? Nothing's changed. He's still an emperor of Rome. He's still like the 666 of his day, isn't he, really? Right? And as you say, it's quite a fine image. You know, if you were a child and you saw this in you know, when you were a kid or a child, you'd sort of look up to them, wouldn't you? Think, wow, that looks cool. I want to be like that. Like, because I remember when we were kids, we wanted to be Romans, didn't we? We wanted to look like the Roman soldiers and all that, like, you know, because we don't know nothing. Right? So you see this image, and you see the style of the statue, the way it's like this metal or bronze or whatever, and it goes green over time, doesn't it, right? You know, it's like this metal that goes green, and they're like little Roman. I mean, think about it. This is Britain. This is like Britain's like a Celtic country, isn't it? Or, you know, Gauls or whatever. You know, the legacy, like. And these things have been left all over the country. All these statues, tributes to Roman emperors and things, right? So obviously that's how they get through, like. And then I've told you about the granite on the roads, the granite everywhere in the roads, which could be linked up to obelisks, right? Now the thing is about Constantine, another thing he was famous for, right? Now they must have it in their heads that they're Zeus, right? You know, Zeus or Jupiter, who's like, you know, a supposed god, right? Now you got to think about, Zeus was just, in the imagination of ancient Greeks, it was a thunderstorm, right? And you know, you didn't know nothing about the physics of the planet and electricity and static in the you know, the atmosphere, creating thunder and lightning. In the imagination of the Greek people, they thought that there was a guy up there throwing thunderbolts, right? So one thing led to another. They end up doing the statues of the guy Fine statues, we. Bless you, sir. We, it's Dr. Soul is dead. Go ahead. Right, now in the imagination of ancient Greeks, they thought that there's a guy throwing thunderbolts around, in the sky. You can understand, can't you, from the innocent. It's like an innocent perspective. They don't know there's static electricity in the atmosphere. And then they build a statue of Zeus, and they make images of Zeus. And then, it's forbidden in the Bible, isn't it? It's forbidden to make these images because it manifests. Once you've made the statue, once you've made the image, the figure or whatever it is, it's going to manifest in the people's minds because they see the statue and it goes from the imagination of the guy throwing thunderbolts around to a literal god in front of them, and it's just a statue, you see. Now, the thing is with the Roman emperors kind of give themselves away because they thought of themselves as gods, didn't they, right? Now, look at this, man. When... apart from pretending to be a Christian, the sword is like an upside down cross. Exactly, as well. You say, live by the sword, die by the sword, you know what I mean? Well, look at this. This was this was Constantine. The guy was claiming to be a Christian, right? Now, here's proof that he's seen himself as a god, because this statue would have been huge. The hand, I've seen the foot as well. There's a picture of the foot. And it would have been a massive statue of Constantine. It would have been a bit like Zeus, you know what I mean? Like this huge statue. And that's like huge, that head. And it actually gives away what he looks like as well, doesn't it? It's the biggest mistake they could have made, these guys, was doing these things. Because if they re-emerged or they were like reincarnated or something, you could see them straight away, couldn't you? And go, whoa, he doesn't half look like Constantine. Right. Now, have you ever seen the film Constantine with Keanu Reeves? In the film, he's battling with these entities that are in mirrors and things like that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like the principalities, they move around in mirrors. And the film's kind of like a bit silly, the imagination, but it's quite interesting, some of the points they make in it. And in the film, Lucifer appears. And, remember, Keanu Reeves' character is called Constantine. He's meant to be like the goody two-shoes, if you know what I mean. So the film makes you think that Constantine is good. The word Constantine or the name Constantine, it makes people think Constantine must be good, right? But look, man, he got his own statue, like it was going to be like Zeus. Look at the arm there, the muscle there, like. It would have been huge, right? And it got smashed or something. It didn't get completed or something, right? But it proves that he must have thought he was like a god or something, that the Emperor of Rome must see themselves as a god, right? Which is bullshit, isn't it? We can't, the true creator God, he hasn't got, you can't make a statue of God. People can't really track or trace the true image of God unless they're entitled to see it. And you see the hand, look at the size of the hand, it was huge, man. This would have been a huge statue, like. So he was obviously lying to people when he was saying he was Christian, or he'd seen the light and he was a believer, you know what I mean? Where's the picture of his foot? I don't know if it's actually... But, it would make people think he's quite a cool guy, wouldn't it? The actual... here's another picture of the statue. It's quite a cool statue, isn't it? But that's in Yorkshire. That's in York in Britain, which was a Celtic kind of Viking place, right? And there's a throne. He's sitting on the throne. He's actually seated on a throne on the statue as if he's still the ruler of Britain, as if he's still an actual ruler of Britain. You know what I mean? It's scandalous, really, that it's been allowed to be left there. Because he's obviously claiming sovereignty over Britain, isn't he? And you've got Hadrian's Wall and things like that, right? Now, here's the weird thing, right? Zap to the future, to our modern kings, right? I've just sort of proved that Constantine could not have been a Christian or a believer in God. He might have thought he was God himself, and that's why, you look at the pictures of the Vatican from above, they're being sarcastic to their own followers. They're actually sarcastic. They've seen them as snake food, right? Any other pictures of the statue? Well, that's the beauty of it. You kind of see what he looks like, don't you? You know what I mean? You can, see there his face. He's very distinctive features, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's got You can always tell Romans, they've got thin lips. You see the very thin lip, right? I'm not like having a go at them or saying it's a bad thing, but you can always tell true Romans, their lips are very thin. I mean, my lips, I used to get actually, in school, I used to actually get called the N-word. I won't say it online, obviously. People would actually call me the N-word, like a black guy. Because my lips are kind of like, Mick Jagger, like. They used to skit at me and go, you're like some kind of Aborigine or... I actually got called the N-word. I'm a white guy, you know what I mean? Right, but for people to have a go at me about the size of my lips, right, obviously in their heads is the Roman thing because they prefer the thin lips, don't they? They see thick lips as being like, they take the mickey out of black people because of it, and they actually take the mickey out of white people because of it as well, which is weird, but that's a very distinctive feature of anyone Roman. They've got very thin lips, right? And you can clearly see his face there, man. It's like what Constantine actually looked like, right? So he must have been really egotistical, mustn't he, right? Now, this is where it gets weird, right? The style of the statue, it's like the metal and it goes kind of green, doesn't it, as time passes by, as it tarnishes, right? Still there, I don't know when they actually built that. You know what I mean? I'm not even sure whether that was put there while Constantine was actually around. I haven't got a clue, to be honest. I've never checked it out, but why would they, obviously he's got trying to claim some kind of sovereignty over Britain, right? And we got 2 viewers at the moment, right? I don't know where the image is of his foot, right? Now here's the weird thing. This is proof. I'm going to prove to you that British kings and queens, our sovereignty, our monarchy, have got to be Roman Britons, right? I'm going to prove it to you, right? If they did try denying it, there's no way, because I've got proof for you, right? That they built the empire on mimicking Rome, right? So to achieve my proof, you've seen that, I just showed you that statue of Constantine, right? I'll just shrink that out the way. Right, and I get another one, right? And we look at this, right? Right, now this is a British king. This is a British king. Right, well, this is George III, right? George III. I'll just get my image back up there so I can see the writing. The comments, sorry. Well, this is George III, right? Now, look at the way he's dressed, man. Do you know what I mean? I'm not having a go at him, not like sort of mocking the guy or whatever. Well, he was a king, and he was around during the time of, like, just before the Napoleonic Wars and things like that, right? And they called him the mad, didn't he go mad? Isn't he the mad King George? He went mad. But you can see by his clothes and his attire, it's very dandy, isn't it, right? Very luxurious. He's probably covered in gold. You can see it's all gold in that, right? And obviously, you can tell by the periodical, the time that this painting, this is another mistake that the kings, queens, emperors, all these people make, is painting themselves or having statues of themselves. And there's no way they can hide the history, is it, right? Now, another one is King James, who claims, he's like, he brought the Bible to us in English or whatever, like, but he's the same, he'll dress like this, you know what I mean, this kind of clothes, right? They see themselves as emperors, don't they, right? I'll get the full picture so you can see the actual, or another picture, yeah, there's the full picture, right? Don't know if it's big enough on the screen if you can see it. Like, if you're watching on a phone, by the way, I apologise, because I recommend that when you watch my videos, get on the big screen, put your phone onto a television screen or whatever, so you can see in detail. Because there's a lot of things get missed on the phones, don't they? Because there's only tiny images, aren't there? You see. But look at the way this guy's dressed, man. You know what I mean? Look at the lavishness. Look at the cloak. With the fur and everything. This is a real painting. This was this is not like an image, like an imagination. This is a real painting of the guy, right? King George III, right? Now you can clearly see it's like probably the most advanced fashion for a king to to wear, basically, of the day, like. But it was like 1700s, isn't it? Between the 17 and 1800s, right? Right, so nothing to do with ancient Rome, nothing to do with anything like that, obviously, right? Right? And you can't really see anything to do with Rome, can you? Unlike the image of Constantine, the statue of Constantine, you can't really see anything to do, and you can't see it in our Queen, and you can't see it. But they call themselves Regina, don't they? Like the Queen is Elizabeth Regina, right? Regina, which is Roman for Empress, right? If it was a man, if it was, say, King Charles, say Charles became king tomorrow, it would say Charles Rex on Rex is the Roman word for emperor or ruler. So straight away, just the word Rex or Regina, which is Latin, isn't it, right, proves that they're alluding to Roman titles, right? Now you look at this picture back in the day, and it doesn't look anything like a Roman, does it? It doesn't look anything like a Roman there, right? Now, here's where it gets interesting, like, where I think, like, whoa, hold on. Now this is like, zoom into him, all the different imagery. Look, I'll show you different pictures so you get an idea of. He doesn't look like a Roman at all, does he? There's no Roman imagery whatsoever. It's kind of silly British emperor's regalia, and it looks really. I mean, they should be embarrassed, really, shouldn't they, to say they once dressed like this, you know what I mean? It's not normal. This is him in his kind of military kind of, like the Waterloo type look. The sort of red jackets, the red coats. Right? Looking dandy, right? Still doesn't look like a Roman, does he? And that's his military stuff, right? But here we go. This is the bit where it gets interesting. It's too obvious. They've blown the gaff. They've made it too obvious, right? Oh, he's a sailor there, look. That's when he's a sailor. Do you see the way? They've got an image for everything, right? Still doesn't look like a Roman, does he? Right? Now, none of these pictures look like he's a Roman. I mean, look at that. It's like Napoleon there. None of them make him look like a Roman, right? But we go on to Google Maps, right? I'm just gonna bring that onto my screen. Google Maps, right? This is proof that it's Roman Britain, right? Now there you can see where I live there. There's the Wirral. I don't know if anyone's aware of the Wirral. In America, you probably wouldn't be like made aware of the Wirral, right? But I've been showing these maps on some of my speeches, right? Now there's the Wirral there, right? It's a peninsula, and we're surrounded on three sides by water. We've got the River Mersey there. That's the Irish Sea there. Let's go back a bit. It's very distinctive because it's a peninsula, right? There's the Irish Sea there, and there's the River Dee there. And Wales is here. This is still like Snowdonia and all these places. They look are still mountainous, are still green, are still loads of, places like green belts where we can go, still a bit Celtic, right? But of course, you look closely at the Wirral there, and I've spoken about this, and here we see a place there called Chester, which was known as Deva to the Romans, and this was a Roman fort, right? So you can see why they built Chester there. They're kind of like, it's like their equivalent of Hadrian's Wall in Scotland. It's to keep the Wirral kind of, keep an eye on the Wirral, like, and obviously they had input in Liverpool, which is a city. Remember, Liverpool's a city. This is Liverpool here, right? So, proof that the Romans were kind of, it's a Roman thing in Liverpool, right? Now we zoom into Liverpool. I'll see if I can find it, where the actual place. We're looking for. There's St George's Hall, right? Which looks like a Roman. Yeah, I'll go down on the road. I'm sort of showing you little bits of Britain now that you might not, Americans and that might not have noticed. But look, you can clearly see that like a Roman building, isn't it? Like Greek. I mean, it's a fine piece of architecture. You know what I mean, right? But you see this statue here. Look, he's in one of those. He's like trampling on a Zulu shield there, by the way. I don't know if you can actually see it, but you see that's a Zulu shield on the floor. The Zulus, they trample. The image, he's trampling on the Zulu shield as if they will take Africa and, the slave trade and things like that, right? Here's a statue of, what's his name? I think it's meant to be, Queen Victoria's husband, Albert. Oh, I can actually go down to the ground here, look. Now, look at the floor. Look at the floor straight away. What do you see? All those, where the alien greys come from. They're little messengers, they're little principalities. These cobbles. You see, it's there. You can see in plain sight, all these cobblestones, they'll all be made of granite. Right? Look, so it's there as well. Look up at this statue. Right? And I think that's, it's Albert. See, it says Albert, right? This is the Queen Victoria's husband. Right? Now, you don't see any signs of Rome there, do you? He's got a top hat. And he's dressed in modern clothes. And he was like Prince Albert. Smooth streaming on. I don't know if this is still going out, but I'm getting error. YouTube is not receiving enough video, blah, blah, blah. So it's still okay on. I'm still on, Anyway, you can see now, what do you see in the style of the statue? The metal gone green, which takes us back to the Constantine statue, right? The style is definitely Roman. And that principle of having these bronzes or whatever they are, and then they go green after they tarnish with the air, right? But anyway, look at he's got a top hat in his hand, pair of trousers, shoes, dressed like a modern dandy man, isn't he, right? Still no signs of a Roman, is there, right? Okay, so let's go on to Queen Victoria's statue. It's interesting. I hope it's interesting. I don't know. But anyway, do you see anything? Exactly the same kind of thing, right? And she's got a hat on and a dress. She's riding side saddle, as they say. That's what ladies used to do. Ladies would ride side saddle, where they sit sideways on. They don't put the legs over either side of the horse. And you can see the tarnished green look effect. And it's all, look, there's a St. George's flag in the background. It's a Roman temple, isn't it? It looks like Roman or Greek. And don't forget what I said about Constantine, thinking he must have seen himself as Zeus or something, right? Because of the statue, right? Right? Which we know Zeus was just, in the imagination of ancient people, they thought some guy was throwing bolts of lightning around in the sky. But anyway, there you go. You see the statue there. It's kind of looks like Constantine's statue in the way the colour and everything. But there's no signs of Rome there, is there? No, of course not, right? Because they're British. They're British. And you can look at the floor. All those cobbles. This is where I think alien greys come from, guys. You know what I mean? The inner dimensions of these stones. I've got a whole kind of thesis and speech about that at some point. Okay, now let's leave St. George's Hall and let's fly into the sky and go back to 2D. Right, and I've sort of lost me. I've got to get me bearings right here. So, right, so go. Right, that's, I can sort of make things out easier, right? Now there's Lime Street Station there, right? And there's a street here called Lord Nelson Street. Right, and you get Is it London Road I'm looking for? That's the one. London Road, right? Now think about that, guys. London Road, right? The place is called London Road, right? Now, it's where it gets really interesting. Now, here, there's like a public toilet used to be there, right? Now, remember zooming into this statue. Remember, it's called London Road, right? And look at this place here. It's called Greek Street. Greek Street, right? And have a guess, when you zoom into Greek Street and think about it, Constantine, they think he's Zeus, whatever, there's some kind of link to Greece and Rome or whatever. Now you can see there's a statue there over there in the distance. I'll get to that in a minute, right? But this is called Greek Street, right? What do you recognise? This is like a new street now. You see, these are all this stuff here is all brand new, built for students. The students who come and study in Liverpool University and stuff. I think these are the digs for the students and that, and this as well. These are all brand new buildings, these, right, guys? You can clearly see by the architecture. Look how brand new they are, right? But look at the floor. Do you see anything? Familiar? Look, man, it's a modern street, right? It's a modern street. These buildings are brand new. These buildings are brand spanking new, right? But when you go down to the ground, they've made sure that the road is still the same. It's still old cobbles, alien greys, lots of granite, right? Now, let's get back to the statue. It's quite distinctive. Now, usually a bus comes in the way here, see the way this bus comes in the way. So it's like it's dead hard to just look at the statue, what it says on the statue. Now, look. Now what do we see when we look at this one, right, guys? What do you see when you look at that one? It definitely looks like a Roman, doesn't it? He's got sandals on, like a toga. What they call a toga, a Roman toga. Now, that's definitely a Roman, isn't it, right? And I remember going past there on the bus. I was out on this bus stop here, right? And I went past on this bus. If I can get it from the other side. Let's see if I can get a zoom in on the other side. You can see his actual pose. Yeah, I'll go down here. See if we can get onto the ground here. Oh, it won't let me. Yeah, the nearest it'll get is, for some strange reason, you can't go there for some reason, Right, but anyway, so to try and zoom into it. No, can't do it. I have to go here. Right, let's see the way the bus gets in the way. Oh, go on, we've got a comment. Sherry Vera, welcome on board. Off topic, but Netflix has a show on Canberra, Australia, called Secret City Under the Eagle. Yeah, we talked about that place David Icke referencing. Yeah. I'll check that out. Thanks. Nice one, Sherry Vera. Okay. Now, anyway, I remember sitting on a bus looking at that. And the poses, he's got his hands sticking out. He's when you see people like mastering a horse and he's put one arm out as if to say, I am the master of this horse. That's the kind of pose, right? Well, I remember going past here on a bus and I seen this statue and I was like, whoa, that's a kind of cool statue, isn't it? I wonder who that is, right? And I was thinking, it's a fiction series. Yeah, I'll check that out. But anyway, this Roman in his sand, you can see, I can't really zoom in close. The bus ruins it for me, you know what I mean? I can't really get as close as I'd like to, I'll move up the road a bit. Let's have a look. See if we can move up the road a bit so we get a better angle, if it's possible. Yeah. But you see his hand sticking out there. Right, he's definitely a Roman, that, isn't it, guys? You know what I'm saying? His dress, it's not like the other one. It's not like the Victoria and Albert one. It's more like the Constantine one, isn't it? You understand what I'm saying? I'm linking, this is like a Constantine. No, Constantine's dressed as a Roman emperor, isn't he? Clearly, And you look at this, and I was on the bus looking at that, looking out the window going, Who's that meant to be? Like Alexander the Great, or... You know, I thought it was a Greek or a Roman. And I don't know if you can read it. I don't know if it's written on the thing. You can't read the plates. It says it there anyway, his name. Guess who it is? Any guesses? Anyone want to guess who that's supposed to be? Looking at it, it's a Roman, you know, he's a Roman emperor, isn't he, basically? He's definitely dressed in Roman regalia. Right? I'll go back, see if we can get another angle as well. I remember we got that Greek street there, you know, with all the cobblestones. Right. See if we can look from the back. Now, the tree gets in the way, you see. Oh, there he is, there, isn't he? Right. Well, you see the back of his toga or whatever, like. It's, you see the way that, you see like Greek Street sort of leads to it, like, doesn't it? That's there, the statue. Look. The statue's there, and Greek Street's just there. So there's definitely a connection to the cobblestones and that, anyway. And, yeah, oh yeah, can we go here? I'll look at it from another angle. There's Paddington Bear there. There's Paddington Bear's walk across the street. But, so you can see the statue. Yeah, you can see it there, look. See his arm sticking out. Now, doesn't that look like a Roman emperor? Just like the Constantine one, but he's on a horse, isn't it, right? Okay. Go back down there. Get back up here. So you can see. See the way that bus appears every time. One more look so you can clearly see that guy's a Roman, isn't it, right? Toga. Horse, not even a saddle, is there? You know what I'm saying? He looks like a real ancient Roman, doesn't he? Right, and the reveal. Let's reveal who this man is. Let's reveal who this man is. And we'll show you right away who this man is. Believe it or not, guess who he is? It's supposed to be him. It's George III. Right. It's a statue of George III. Now, there's George III there. Look at his face and everything. He's not like... You know, I'm not saying... I'm not having a go at the guy. I'm not taking the mickey out of him. But you know what I'm saying. He's not a Roman, is he? You know what I mean? Right. That's the way he really looks. That's the the reality. The truth. The reality. The real image of George III. Right. You know, there's George III, right? That's the guy there. That's a real painting of his face and everything. That's the reality. That's the reality of the guy. That's what they really wear. That's what they look like. So why on earth? Why on earth would they make this? Why on earth would they make this guy, this dude? He's just a dude. He was a king in England or whatever. You know, why did they shrink that, right? Why on earth would they... What are they thinking? How can that have anything to do? So, this is like a fallacy in itself, isn't it? It's like Fantasy Island in their brains. They see themselves as real, like, Roman emperors. Like, I mean... The difference between that, and it looks quite cool, doesn't it? You know, if that was a statue of me, I'd be quite proud of. But if you look close at the face, he's got the chins and everything. It's the same fella, like. It's George III. The statue says Rex. George Rex III. So there's your evidence that, like, kings or queens of England, whether they hide it or not, I mean, they've actually really give themselves away with this one, haven't they? You know. Now, I mean, talk about ego trips, man. You know what I mean? Talk about an ego trip. It's ridiculous, isn't it? That is actually this fella. I mean, as far as it's like such an ego trip. It's beyond belief, man. So they do actually think the Romans, don't they? There's no two ways about it, right? Now, we know that Constantine was a real Roman. Obviously, he was around. This is George III when he was a kid. I mean, they really must have loved themselves, mustn't they, these guys, to have all the paintings done and everything, right? I mean, I'm not having a go. I'm not like sort of taking the piss, am I? I'm not like mocking them, if you know what I mean. It's not like that. But it's clearly absurd, isn't it? You know, when you see look at them looking all dandy and. But the statue it's in Liverpool. That's like my nearest city, Liverpool. Like Liverpool's the most unroyal place on the earth. They've got no reverence for the royal family and all that. Like, you know, Scousers, and he doesn't look like he could even get on a horse. Exactly. I mean, it's insane, isn't it, man? How big-headed they are, how they see themselves as. I mean, because that statue, you know, the reality, you know, even in his military uniform, there's the reality, like, that's how they look like. The reality is that, because we know that, because these paintings, there you go, look, I mean, you know, this dude who's a king of England, like King George, right? And look, I mean, they do this as well, look, like busts, you know, like as if they're Romans, you know what I mean? I mean, they're off their bloody heads, aren't they, man? They really are, like, they really do. I mean, I thought that was Elvis Presley then, look. I was like, is that Elvis Presley? It says, but Mozart. Mozart. It looks like Elvis, doesn't it? But man, this is like, there we go. There's George III there again, like. I mean, I can't believe it, but I was like in Liverpool, right? And I was on the bus looking at that statue thinking, wow, it's a fine statue, isn't it? I wonder who that is, right? Now, here's the funny part. Here's George IV now. Here's his son. George IV, man. Look at the bloody stuff he's wearing, man. This guy wasted money gambling. You know, all the taxpayers' money. Do you know what I was saying earlier about the Vatican being sarcastic and mocking the people? The very Catholics that go there to see the Pope are seen as snake food in the architecture. There's snakes in a snake's belly, the food for a snake. They're being devoured by Rome as though the food for a snake. Now this guy, he's George IV, man. He's the son of George III. And he was around when Waterloo happened and things like that, right? And look at the clothes on him, man. And he was infamous for wasting money. He used to gamble on horses and things, and he was obsessed with speed. He wanted to go faster. He had like carts and carriages. You know, he wanted to go really fast all the time, like. And he wasted thousands of pounds, you know, taxpayers' money, people's money, on his own gambling. And because he was a king, he'd get privileges for nothing anyway. They'd give him, they'd let him off with debts and things like that. And he was blowing the taxpayers. They were collecting taxes off people, and he was spending it like it was his own money, wasting it on his lifestyle. Expensive clothes, expensive jewellery, expensive furniture. He was as ridiculous as it gets for an English king, right? But you clearly see his father thought he was like some kind of Roman emperor, you know what I mean, right? Now, there's a good documentary, if you're not too sure, if you've never seen any, like this guy, right? I'll try and, I'll actually show you a bit of it, actually, in a minute. Like, there's a documentary on YouTube. Like, remember me speech a while back where I showed you the little model of Rome that's in Italy that Mussolini built? And Hitler had a similar thing, right? They're all the same, man. They can't be trusted, man. They can't be trusted, really, like. The Bible tells us to respect our leaders, but it doesn't. It tells us not to worship them. You know what I mean? Not to worship the Queen, not to worship the Pope. But it tells us to respect them, doesn't it? You know, probably so we don't get our heads chopped off. But George IV, man, he was the son of George III, right? And like I say, this is George III. We see here, like, he's like a Roman emperor. I mean, isn't it absurdly egotistical, man? He actually looks cool, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? That makes him look like... But it's an illusion, isn't it? And you know what I'm saying about, like, the innocent people in ancient Greece? They thought that Zeus was throwing thunderbolts down, right? And then in their heads, it manifests in their minds. And then they build a statue of Zeus. And then it's something to look at. Now, you look at that. It's given them some kind of subliminal effect over our minds to make them seem greater than they actually are, that they're not just ordinary human beings, they're some kind of gods or, you know, like emperors or leaders or kaisers or rulers. It's very misleading, man. It's propaganda. It's just like the pictures that Hitler used to put on the walls in Germany with him looking all stern with suits of armour on and things like that. It's the same kind of propaganda, isn't it? So it's understandable why people think their rulers are amazing, right? You know what I mean? Because people still worship the Queen, don't they? You know, but and like they say, these things are everywhere. These cobbles are everywhere, right? Now, the way... Let's see if I can find a picture. Now, George IV, when he had his statue done... It's funny. It's quite funny, you know what I mean? It's back to Constantine, right? You see what I'm saying? The style, the green metal, right? So that's in Yorkshire, saying, like, you know, we still rule. That's a symbol of rulership. That's like, we rule this place. You know, so they obviously had something about York or Yorkshire. Big deal, like, trying to rule Yorkshire. He looks quite cool, though, doesn't he? You get me? You're thinking, like, whoa, what a sound looking... And he's pretending to be a Christian. If he's he's pretending to be a believer in God, and it's just so that, like, really, because he realised that if you left all the Christians alive, you could take money off them, or you could get them to work for you, and you can take taxes off them. You see, that's why he became a Christian, because he realised, you know, Emperor Nero was killing people sadistically and getting rid of them and being cruel. And he realised if you keep them alive, you can tax them, you know? He's like, we can tax them. It's quite a bold image, isn't it? It's like really strong. And what was he like in real life? Who knows? I don't know. Because he looks like he looks like an alien, doesn't it? In a way, like, it's kind of scary in a way, isn't it? But the green thing makes them look like lizards, doesn't it? If you get me, the way the statues go green, maybe that's why they're all reptilians or something. Under the surface, behind the scenes, you know, where people have claimed to see the Queen shapeshift into a reptilian and things like that. They're definitely some kind of reptilians, but you see the way the statues go green, don't they? Right. But you see his head. That was going to be huge, that statue. I don't know if there's any images of the... well, there is actually. Yeah, we'll go to YouTube. I don't want... If I watch other people's videos, it might ruin it for me, like, but... This is how big... You know, so basically, I'm proving on that Constantine must have been telling fibs, you know, pretending to be... a Christian. Right, go back to this and just show you again, just to remind you that I'm not imagining this. You know, someone else put me onto it on YouTube. Someone else, it was Jonathan Kleck, actually. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Jonathan Kleck. He seems a bit crazy, like, but he's got some good points, if you know what I mean. He's okay, like, in my book, like, but he does it's his own way of thinking, isn't it, right? But where is it? The picture of Rome from above. Here we go. I get on a full screen so you can see what I mean. Point it out again, right? This one here, right? One of me arrows, you can see it moving around, but you see that the snake's head, there's the two eyes. Those circles, that's the eyes. Go on Google yourself and check it out from different angles, you know what I mean? But the dome represents the hat. You see, like a hat on its head. And there's the belly of the snake, which is the bulge where the food is, right? You see, as we go up on these pictures higher up. Right, now look at the road. You see the road? See, there's the bulge there that will represent the food of the snake. And all the people who are all actually there to support the Pope are all seen as food. You understand that? That's how evil these people are. They don't even tell them that they're standing in what it resembles a snake. And then you get to the tail. You see this road that runs off. Look at it. It even narrows off. The road even sort of narrows off. You can clearly see it's a snake. But if you were on the ground, you wouldn't know that. Alright? So, that's proof, isn't it, that whether they call themselves Greeks or Romans, they're all deluded by a god complex of some kind. And it's nothing to do with the real God, because the real God doesn't need images and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Or he doesn't need to big himself up, does he? Right. So, let's see what we can get on a... Hold on, let's use this. I've already got a YouTube page up, haven't I? So let's have a little sort of... do a little search, and we do... just showing you that they must have seen themselves as gods. See, Constantine meets Lucifer. That's in the film Constantine. Constantine. And I'll say foot. Just foot. Yeah, Constantine foot. Now, if I check someone else's video out. Constantine the Great. I just want to see an image of the foot. Right, there's plenty of things about him, you know, documentaries and videos about him, like the Colossus of Constantine. See, it was going to be called the Colossus, like. Now, we'll take a risk and go on to it, like, and I'll keep the sound off just in case. And let's see if we can find... There we go, there's his statue there, like. I'm using someone else's video, so I've got to be careful. I'm like, yeah, there we go. There's the foot there, like, or one of them. And I'm sure there's another one somewhere. There's another one somewhere, like. Right, now I think that's Hadrian there, I'm not sure. So, but you get me, with a lot of statues. I mean, I used to do when I was younger, I'd look at a statue and think, wow, it's cool, isn't it? You know what I mean? Because it's very beguiling. It makes you think they're a lot better than they actually are, right? Okay. I'll just see if we can get there. There's some footage of people standing next to the foot, you see, and you get an idea of the scale of what the statue is going to be. You know. Well, he must have been quite a vain character, mustn't he, Constantine? You know what I mean? Constantinople was named after him and that, like. Constantine foot statue. I'll put statue, see if it comes up better in the search. You know, foot statue. Let's see. It's the same one, isn't it? But anyway, you'll find that if you check it out, right? Now, so there's no way that the British aristocracy can deny, but it makes you wonder how many of these people were connected to the royal family, if you know what I mean. It's you know, it's just they've planted seeds everywhere, haven't they? To rule the lands, basically. And, the Celts and the Gauls and what have you, they've been... Well, the battle at the beginning of Gladiator, that battle at the beginning of Gladiator, it kind of says it all, doesn't it? You know what I mean? They're supposed to be Germanic Gauls, aren't they? Right. Now, I've always said to people, people say the Bible says, I saw a creature that resembles a leopard, right? And it does say, it says resembles a leopard, right, guys? It says resembles a leopard. It doesn't say I saw a leopard, doesn't it? It doesn't say I saw a leopard. It says something that resembles a leopard, right? So let's go back here. And let's just see if we can find a creature. All roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to Rome, right? So, let's just see if we can find a creature that resembles a leopard, that's supposed to be evil, representing the answer, well, the adversary to God, right? And we go, just type this, right? Hyena. Pictures, right? And you'd be amazed, how close to a leopard a hyena looks. You see, I saw a creature that resembles a leopard. Now, I've actually seen really good pastors on YouTube talking about that, right? And not one of them have sussed out that it's a bloody hyena that the Bible's talking about. What's it got? It's got spots, hasn't it? I mean, it doesn't look exactly like a leopard, but it says like the face of a bear, like the mouth of a bear or whatever. And right, now you see that there. You can clearly see. There you go. There's the. It's a very shady animal, very untrustworthy. Lions hate them. You know what I mean? Like, don't wake the lion. Lions hate hyenas. They're always trying to gang up. They're always trying to check on YouTube. There's videos of like groups of hyenas trying to subdue young lions. We're talking about in Africa, and think about in Africa, these things kill each other, remember. It's not like people, is it? They actually rip each other to pieces. They actually devour each other, you know what I mean, if they can. And I love watching videos of lions battering these things, you know what I mean. Well, doesn't it look like a leopard, right? I saw a creature that resembles a leopard. This is in Revelation, isn't it, I think, right? Resembles a leopard, right? Even pastors and good, Bible teachers on YouTube still don't get it right. They still don't get it right. Here's another picture. Oh, it's only small. Right, here's another picture from another angle. There's one there. Like, look at its face, man. Does that look like a demon or what, man? Do you understand? That looks like pure evil, mate. It actually, I mean, it does look a bit like Obama, doesn't it, in a way, like Barack Obama, like, sort of, but not being, personal or against them. Right. Now you see the way when you look at a hyena, you notice its back is very sloped. It's got a sloped back, right? And what's distinctive? The ears on a wolf. When the Bible says wolves in sheep's clothing, like I was saying earlier, I'm saying it's Rome, isn't it? Rome or Constantine, they pretended to be Christians in sheep's clothing. They pretended to be peaceful. They got the setup of the Vatican, mocking people that they look like food in the belly of a snake. But when you look at this, you can see the ears on a hyena, which resembles a leopard. It's got spots. Right? It's quite wicked. It's a wicked animal. If these could rule the world, they would take the piss out of all of us, right? And you look at that, you see those ears, right? Now, so I've just proved to you guys that something does resemble a leopard, but it's not. It's a hyena, right? The Bible doesn't mention it, does it? It doesn't say... Because whoever saw the vision, John the Revelator or whoever it was, they've probably never seen a hyena in their lives before, you understand? Right? And they're in Africa, aren't they? Obviously, right? Right? And Africa's connected to Egypt. Egypt is where, spiritually known as Sodom, in the Bible, spiritual Sodom. So we know that Babylon and all that kind of stuff is connected, right? Trying to just join dots here and just sort of, make the penny drop, like. Right, one more picture of a hyena, right? You see the ears? Notice the ears, right? Now, get a picture of a real wolf. You know what we call a wolf in our language? A wolf, right? No, this is why people, they shouldn't mix real leopards up. Leopards and wolves, what we call wolves, which is like the source of every dog, right? Man's best friend, dogs, right? Right, but get a wolf picture, right? A wolf picture. And we see the difference, right? In the way they look. Right? Now, they don't look demonic, unless they're angry. Unless they're getting angry. They don't look demonic at all, do they, right? There's like a classic wolf. Your dogs. What we call dogs, right? These are the original dogs, aren't they? Every dog, every single dog comes from the wolf, right? Now, we call these wolves, don't we? But we know that now, what did the Romans used to do? They used to, when standard bearers, they used to kill these creatures, didn't they? And put make a headgear, or, like wear them on the heads, like a show of sovereignty, like we conquered this creature, right? But they wouldn't put a hyena on the heads, would they? Right. They wouldn't put a hyena on the heads, right? So they're obviously making some kind of statement that, like, they don't like these as well, right? This is the wolf, you know what I mean? What we know as the wolf, right? Right? But, when they say wolves in sheep's clothing, I think they're talking about hyenas, right? Which they mean Romans, don't they? Right? Now, you see the slope back, it's not as kind of distinctive as it is on a hyena, right? It's kind of, they look kind of oddbod, don't they? They look like... Now, did you know this? Every dog that's been... every dog breed that's like a specialised breed, you pay a fortune, you say you buy a beagle or a poodle, or, a dog that's like a pure pedigree, right? They were actually genetically engineered by the Victorians, right? King Charles Spaniel looks like King Charles because King Charles wanted a dog that looked like him. They had this weird fashion that when they carried the dogs around, they wanted it to look like themselves, right? So that tells us that somehow even the Victorians were kind of genetically, what they call the engineer in the film Prometheus. But they were able to manipulate the dogs or some kind of dog breed to look like themselves, right? Now there you go, there's the classic wolf, right? What's distinctive about wolves is the ears are pointed, aren't they, right? See the pointy ears? Now, they don't look, we all love dogs, don't we? I could cuddle, I had a wolf ear once, like someone, I had to look after it for a couple of days. A Canadian timber wolf. I've got photographs of it I can show you, like, at some point, like. And it was a lovely animal, and she was a bit distressed. It was a she-wolf, what we call a she-wolf. She was a bit distressed because her owners were a bit crazy, like, you know what I mean? But I didn't feel scared or intimidated, you know what I mean? I didn't feel like, oh, she might attack me, She was like like a husky dog, you know what I mean? But the actual breed was a Canadian timber wolf. Lovely animal. Looked just like that, you know what I mean? Sort of thing. And I was thinking, I can't believe I've got a bloody wolf in my living room here, like, you know what I mean? But there's the classic wolf, right? Now, really, I suppose American Indians would call them dogs, wouldn't they, I suppose? To an American Indian chief or whatever, or an Indian warrior, these became friends with people. If you stay long enough with them in the wild, they start trusting you and befriending you and things, There's enough documentaries out there, right? Hyenas, they have to be reared in captivity to be trusted. Do you know what I mean? Right, so you see these, the ears of a wolf, what we call a wolf, or what I would call a dog, they're pointed, right? I've only got one viewer. Everyone's gone to bed. What time is it? 23. Oh yeah, I've been on quite a while. We got closing up soon. Well, I don't know. See how long it can go. Right, now I'll show you as the proof that the wolf in sheep's clothing is not a wolf. you know, when the Bible says it's wolves in sheep's clothing, you just type in Rome statue. Rome statue, right? And we should get... hold on, where is it? Oh, it's doing everything from Rome. Oh, Rome statue. Romulus and Remus, isn't it? Right, so say wolf. Right, you type the word in wolf. You see? Because that's where we've been misled with the word wolf, right? And there we are. There's this statue. And notice the ears are sort of round, aren't they? You get me? And see the way the nose is short. It's not long like what we call a wolf. That's meant to be the she-wolf, isn't it? And these two kids, Romulus and Remus, are supposed to be the original Romans, you know what I mean? Romulus, Rome is named after Romulus. And Remus. And they've been adopted by this hyena. Because look, that's a hyena, actually. Sort of, the back is quite straight, isn't it? But its head is levelled off, isn't it, you see? But I think that the actual wolf of Rome, you know, is the hyena, the wolf in sheep's clothing, like. Right? And the Bible saying, I saw an animal that resembled a leopard. Right? And I don't know if you've seen the film Gladiator. You know the bit when Russell Crowe is dying, when he's been rescued by that African fella. And he's being given, he keeps blacking out, and you see a scene, you just see 1 second of a hyena in a cage going rah at the camera, like, you know what I mean? I think, why is Ridley Scott showing a hyena in the middle of all of this, man? You know, because no one ever mentions them. Everyone says wolves in sheep's clothing, and so we always think of the animal wolf, don't we? And really, no one ever really thinks of these things, you know, hyenas. And lions hate the things, man, you know what I'm saying? They'll never get on, they'll never be friends or trust each other, you know. You see the way the ears are rounded off kind of thing? This, you know, obviously the statue's not like absolute accuracy, is it? It's probably quite an old statue, isn't it? The original, like. There we go, that's probably one of the original ones there, look. See the short nose and the kind of... So that's what I'm saying, right? So obviously the royal family itself is connected to all of this, isn't it? You know, like by seeing those images of George III looking like a Roman emperor, you know. And we've got them cobblestones everywhere, those stones. And you know what's funny, right? You know what, someone actually in Liverpool, there was an actual a street in Liverpool. I can't remember what the street was called now. I'll have to check it out. I'll have to do a search. Thieves actually stole a whole street. You know, the cobblestones in one night. Let's have a look. I'll type it in. Thieves. Liverpool. Stole street cobbles. Right, and what I'm saying is they're worth money. You see. Oh, it's not. This is in pictures, isn't it? All right, let's get back in the search engine. So you see the flashbacks of the images, like you think, whoa. Romans are really, really crafty buggers. Right, so I can't go any further, can I? That's what it is. I can't go back on that way. Alright, let's go to another search. Right, and I'll just locate the street and I'll show you what I mean. That right, when a street was actually stolen, someone stole the entire street. Oh, by the way, I got offered me COVID jab the other day on the phone, and I refused to have it, like. I probably won't be able to travel abroad anymore, you know what I mean? Yeah, let's see. Damn thieves. Liverpool. Just trying to find the street. Steel. Cobbles. And that's obviously, it's not a street where there's houses are, you see. But it was actually in the news. It was on the news, yeah, look. I'll have to bring the page over so you can see it. Hold on. It says UK. There it is, right. Look at this for comedy. This is only in Liverpool, guys, right. UK thieves. Oh, I can't see my thing, you know. I can't read the thing, so I'll just do it, separate it. Can't do it. Anyway, I'll just read that now. Police are hunting thieves who stole an entire cobbled street in Liverpool. Thousands of cobbles were taken from along the length of Brecon Street, that's it, Brecon Street in Kensington area of the city. The daring raiders left a small road potholed and flooded with rainwater. It is believed a digger and a lorry were used to uproot about 5,000 cobblestones from the 100-yard road. Right, now, and then he says, each cobble is worth between £5 and £10. So this stretch of road, which is about 50 metres long, it will cost a lot of money to replace them. Right, so that's an actual piece of news. That was actually, it actually had thieves steal streets, right? So Brecon Street, right? I'll just put this back over here and get that on my usual. That was what I wanted to find, Brecon Street, live streaming, right back on. We go on the Google. Right, it's not far from here actually. Right, if I remember correctly, let's see if I can find it. Right, only in Liverpool, man. Only in Liverpool. Brecon Street. It's in that area, Kensington. See, it's very close. See this area, Kensington Street. Kensington, the area, Kensington. Oh man. Right, but no one even seen these thieves in the night. Like they took the whole, you know, the stones from the streets, and you heard what he said. That they were £5 each. You know what I mean? Brecon Street, Liverpool, right? Now you go to Brecon Street, right? Where are we? There, is that the actual street? Yeah. And you see, when you look at it, right? I'll zoom into it. Get things stop going in the way. Get out the way, right? There's the actual Brecon Street there, right, guys? It's just this little. It's like there's houses there. You see the houses there. Now you think they had a digger that, like, you know, they must have. It's beggars belief, doesn't it, that someone actually went there and took all the stones, right? Well, it is in the area of Kensington. Let's just close the side panel down, right? Now, I'll zoom in, right? Now, obviously, all them cobbles were taken from this area, right? I'll just go right up in the sky, sort of high up so you can see, you know, like a sort of, like, it's in Liverpool, right? Not far from Everton. Right, and now I'll zoom right down to the actual street, right? And obviously all these cobbles were taken from this area. Right, and they could have just made the road like a normal road, couldn't they? But look what they did. They made it like... They actually put, like, tiles down, you see? So it's like basically... Why didn't they just make it like a normal road? You know, just like a... You know, because... But all the cobbles were taken from there, but this entire street, the Scouse thieves had stole the entire street. They must have sold the cobblestones, I don't know. But look, when they've resurfaced the road. It's only a little short road, isn't it? It's not even like a main road for cars or anything. There's a garage here or whatever, like. But they made sure they put more tiles down, if you know what I mean, like modern equivalents, you see. See how meticulous they are at making each road go, like... It's almost Roman still, isn't it, if you know what I mean? See, and you can't tell when you go up in the sky, like. Get back down, right? But there you go, you see. Okay. So, and these tiles here, you know, these kinds of tiles, you see these everywhere, yeah? You know these things, these bricks on the floor, you know when you see these, you know why these are everywhere? Guess why? Because they're right by me, they're everywhere right by me where I live. It's like Holland, you know, Amsterdam, when you go around the streets in Amsterdam. You know, like I'm saying, like cocaine and drugs is like taking over the world and stuff. But look, everywhere in Amsterdam, I'll do a little zoom back, right? So you see, we've definitely got the Roman thing going on with the big cobbles and stuff. Entire streets stolen, like. Right, let's leave the planet. Let's go back into the 2D and we'll get me bearings back to normal, right? So I'm familiar, right? So now I'll go to Holland now, right? Because I walked around there, didn't I? Went to Amsterdam and I had a look around, you know what I mean? And I loved the place myself. I thought it was, I loved Amsterdam, right? But what I'm saying is like drug dealers. There's got to be bad drug dealers in Holland, hasn't there? You know, guys who are really shady and dodgy and, you know, not trustworthy, you know what I mean? And you go down to the ground in Amsterdam sort of area, right? And what I'm saying to you is that the alien greys, what I call, I know I sound like a lunatic, right? You know what I mean? I sound like a right lunatic, don't I? Saying alien greys must emerge out of those cobbles, those granite cobbles in the roads and on the ground, you know, they're everywhere. I showed you Greek streets in Liverpool. Right, and let's zoom into Amsterdam, onto the ground, right? Any area, basically. Right, basically. And look, there's cobbles everywhere. Right? And if it's not cobbles, right? Now, this is the thing about Amsterdam. When you walk around Amsterdam, right? When you go past some of they call them smart shops. Smart shops, you know, the shops, not the coffee shops. The ones that sell like LSD and peyote and magic mushrooms and truffles. They sell truffles nowadays, you know what I mean? Well, you see the Roman effect everywhere on the floor, right? Right, now what do you see right there? We just go here. Look at this floor. See what I just showed you in Liverpool, Brecon Street. You see these paving stones, they're like bricks, they're like a zigzaggy pattern. They're everywhere. Right, everywhere in Amsterdam. These are everywhere in most of the paths of this kind of floor, right? And you can clearly see, right next to it there, cobbles, which are made like some kind of granite, pink granite. You can see it's pink granite and grey granite, like a mix. And remember, the Nazis had occupation of Holland and Amsterdam, didn't they, for a short while? You know what I mean? Right, now, honestly, that's one of the things I noticed. There's these pictures of alien greys everywhere, and they're all kind of like smoking spliffs, you know, like smoking joints, like as if they're stoners, you know what I mean? So obviously these aliens, these like fallen angels, right, we call them fallen angels, they're using drugs to take over the world, aren't they? They're like using drugs to, I mean, you know, there's recreation and getting high and all that, I understand all that, but when these things are like trying to rule everyone, look, see these paving stones, look, exactly the same. So the inside, the dimension inside these stones, all these cobblestones, if they're everywhere all over the world, the inner dimensions, or whatever, the fallen angels, whatever we want to call them, principalities, they can literally go from one place to another just using these stones, you see. That's what I'm getting at, really, like, you know. And obviously there's the Roman influence there. And that's the more modern version, you see. Yeah, we'll go over this bridge and you can see what I'm saying. Just look at the floor. Everywhere, right? Now you notice that, right? Now, watch now, I'll zoom away from where we'll get out of Holland, right? People are going to say, what is Bruce on, mate? See, we leave Amsterdam and we go back to my country, right? And remember what I showed you guys, all the cobblestones under the roads near me, right? And the park entrance, here we go. I'll zoom to the park entrance, right? And remember what I said to everyone? I was like, they didn't need to put these cobblestones here, man. They didn't need to put these cobblestones here, but they did recently, right? Let's get a better angle, right? This is new. These were put in recent, I don't know, maybe the last 20, 30 years. They made sure they put a triangle of cobblestones there, right? Right, now, I go up, back into the sky, and I come to here. This is where I live in these flats, right? This is my block of flats, right? Now, look, right by me. See this, just this road here, right? See the way they've added to the pavement there. Why is this pavement sort of bulge out? But watch what happens when I zoom right into them. Look what you see. What do you see there? Just like Amsterdam, isn't it? You get me? Right? And this is what's weird. Look at the shape. It's like this weird triangle there, right? Of these. I don't even see the point of them putting that there. Other than some interdimensional beings can go from Amsterdam to here in the blink of an eye, if you know what I mean, right? And you go over here, right, on this corner. Let's go to 2D, so I'm right above it, like. Watch us zoom down here. What's the point of this? What's the point? Right here where the shop is. Oh, there's a lady looking at me there, standing at the shop. Well, look at outside the shop, look. What do you see? You know, shops sell sweets. You know what I was saying in an earlier speech about mints and toffees and Uncle Joe's mint balls and whatever. But look, right outside a sweet shop, this is just this is my corner shop here, look. They sell sweets and beer and whatever, right? Can't buy weed and cocaine there yet, like, but But what do you see? Do you see how the stonemasons, they're quite crafty? It's very low-key. It's not exactly designed to be spotted, is it? But you can clearly see, looking at the style of this floor. Right, look over the road on the other corner. Right? You see, what's even the point of putting them there? Except for it's interdimensions, right? Now, what do you notice about here, for example? This road here, this street, these are like brand new houses. What's the first thing you notice about these houses, look? Pyramids. They put pyramids on the fence posts, right? These are normal paving stones, as you can see on the floor. And you look across the road behind you, and they're like eaves. You know what they call eaves, where they're pointed. See? Right. So I think stonemasonry is used like a portal. You know what I'm saying? Like, here you go, the four corners of this road. The four corners of this, just this crossroad. If you zoom in, I'll zoom in sort of gently, and you see there, look, there's those paving stones are there, and there, all four corners at this junction. I've got these little fellas here. These paving stones that look just like. Let's go back into space. I love this. Is the beauty of Google Earth, isn't it? You just go whew. And that's why I think, when people sort of, the way the law can't get a hold of certain dealers and they can't stop them, and they seem to have like power that you can't, principalities of powder, They seem to be able to sell anything and get away with it, right? And no one can stop them, right? And yet you go into it, Holland, where, obviously there's going to be a lot of drug dealers, isn't there? You know what I mean? And I mean serious. I'm not just talking about weed, am I, guys? I'm talking about other things, like cocaine, heroin, everything, right? Right, we zoom back. I'll just do it one more time. I'll go anywhere randomly in Holland, right? It's everywhere in Holland, right? In Amsterdam. I'll go randomly into any street. Right? Any street, just zoom in. Look at the floor. Everywhere. Did you get me? So, like, and royalty will not legalise cannabis, because obviously if everyone was allowed to grow it themselves and that, like, they would be finding cures to cancer and things like that, yeah, right? And they can't fine anyone anymore, obviously they get a lot of money by fining people. If someone's caught with a bit of weed on them or growing weed in the house, they get fined, don't they, usually? They don't go to jail, usually. They get fined. So it's a revenue. The illegality of cannabis is actually a revenue that the governments, or, I think the royal family, they look like Roman emperors and all that, like. I think they're using these paving stones as a way of ruling the whole world. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know if anybody else noticed that, like, but I'm very observant. See, I think I'm into stones and stone masonry and stuff like that. Look, everywhere you go in Holland, look. Well, especially Amsterdam. There's a footbridge there. Look, let's cross the footbridge, but let's look down. Loads of bicycles. That's a weird looking bicycle. Look at the floor. Okay, so. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm joining the dots, basically, and showing people that, like, Rome is literally, they say all roads lead to Rome, and they're using, like, not just footpaths and roads, and there's cobblestones everywhere, and that's how they're conquering the earth, guys. The whole earth is like, these paving stones are being put everywhere. I've just showed you they're right by me in Britain. You probably find anywhere in the street near you, you'll find a similar thing. So, that's how I see it. And I think alien greys, I sound mad saying this, like, but alien greys, I think they come out of the granite and the stones, you know what I mean? They're all around us, but they have to somehow make us shrink to their size and proportion to be able to get the better of us, if you know what I mean. And by doing that they have to get you into drugs or an addiction or something where your character is diminished, basically, or your eye is diminished, right? Because I did see them everywhere in Holland, like pictures of them all smoking spliffs, right? So let's see how long we've been on. We've been on for 2 hours now, so that's a good old speech, isn't it, guys? I don't know, I hope you found this kind of interesting. I'll kind of conclude. And hopefully when the next one, I'll be kind of continuing it and going a little bit deeper into the thing about the greys and stuff, like. Because on the moon, I've actually had visions. I don't know if any of you've seen my picture. I'll show you this picture. It's actually on YouTube, isn't it? I've made some banal observations. Let's put it that way, right? Let's just get this image. I'll just close that down. Let's get my YouTube page, right? Just close that one down. Constantine looking like thinking he's when he was Zeus. Right. Right, you go onto my page, right? And this is, I'm going to carry on in the next speech about the alien greys or whatever, okay? Because it gets really interesting, right, guys? I've basically got the proof, right? But because it's all unseen, it's not recorded, there's no evidence. It's kind of, it's debatable, isn't it, right? I'll just get back on my own page. right, on my videos, right. I don't know if any of you have ever seen this picture on my channel. I'll try and get it up as quick as I can. Right, these are my videos, well, as I see them on my channel, uploaded and that. Right, I don't know the title, so I can't type it in, like, but I'll show you an interesting picture that I painted myself. Right, and it's based on a real vision, guys. I didn't, you know, when I there's two kinds of vision I have, right. There's me kind of like warrior visions or artistic visions, you know, your artistic vision, where you see things that just drive you and inspire you, right? And then there's your biblical vision, which is God. When God gives a person a vision, it's like really powerful and you can't do nothing about it, basically. But you can use like art and that to kind of tap into vision, like, you know, visionary experiences and that, like, which aren't artistic vision, isn't necessarily biblical vision, right? But it might tell you something about the world or the universe or the moon or the sun or whatever, right? And this was a vision I actually had listening. I was listening to my own music, to be honest, like, and I recommend people, if you do listen to me music, put headphones on, right, and close your eyes and have a little bit of a chill, because I try and transmit these visions through the music. It's the reason I do music, guys. I'm not really like trying to be like a star or like a big musician or anything. I use it as part of my art to attempt to transmit the vision to people, you know, to show other people things that I've seen through visionary experiences, right? I call it being a visionary anyway. And like I say, I don't confuse me artistic vision with visions from God. That's another matter. If someone gets a vision from God, they'll know about it. Let's put it that way. Like, you just know about it because it's probably the most mind-blowing experience you can have on the earth, basically, like. Right, I'm not being corny or anything like that, or religious neither. I know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean? I don't want anyone to see it as being religious or corny. Corny. Right, I'm scanning through this as fast as I can to find... Yeah, here we go. Right, look at this. This is one of my videos. I don't know if anyone's seen it, right? Oh, hang on, I haven't shrunk my image yet, have I? Let's just shrink my image. Right, just put that aside. Yeah, you couldn't see that because while I was doing that. So, alright, so shrink my image. Right, so I don't know if anyone's seen it. If you might have seen this on my channel. It's quite interesting, right? I think it's quite interesting, right? I was showing the positive side of the greys, right? There we go. This is the video as it is. There's no music or nothing, so it doesn't need any sound. But look what it says. Another perspective from my Lunascape series. Lunar Rave Frenzy. Viewed from... I've said Archimedes crater, but that's just a guess, right? It's a guess. It could be another crater, right? You see this? That's based on an actual... I mean, I know it looks like a silly picture. It's not really skillfully drawn, is it? You know what I mean? It's not actually skillfully drawn, right? But you see, like, the moon, it's a crater, right? Now, if you imagine this crater as a circle, and I was standing in the middle of this crater, looking all around me, and we were talking about 360 degrees, a full circle of these little fellas all dancing like lunatics, man. You know, like, really happy, not doing anything menacing, not doing anything cruel. Obviously, to be in this position, it'd be immersed in light, wouldn't it? The only darkness is the shadows or the blackness in the sky. You see, you know, when, you know, footage of astronauts on the moon, guys, it's quite valuable because it kind of shows you what it looks like. You've got to realise the value of what the astronauts who went to the moon showed us in the photographs and the you know, the footage, right? But if you imagine a circle of these all dancing around the crater and like it being one of the most powerful experiences you can have, basically. But these are obviously not evil. These are like friendly little fellas. Friendly angels, you know what I mean? Not fallen angels. They're still on the moon. They're not imprisoned on the earth. Well, that's one of my pictures, you know, digital picture. I'd like to do it more accurately and more realistic, like hyper-realism, right? And that's what they look like, guys. They were all dancing in a circle like that. You know, like children in a way, very innocent, you know what I mean? But you imagine, like, I've got my headphones on listening to my music, and I actually see this in my visionary. This is the kind of visionary experience I'm trying to share in my music. That's why I say to people, check it out, get headphones on, close your eyes. You don't need to be on drugs, you don't need to be intoxicated. But if you do smoke a bit of weed, it'll be even more mind-blowing, I suppose, you know what I mean? So I recommend that, right, guys? But if you imagine that's a full circle, this is only one. Like, you know, I couldn't draw the entire circle. Imagine these little fellas, like, flipping out, man. I mean, like, dancing like they're in a rave, you know? Right. Now, let's go, like, I'll do another, I'm really interested in the moon, you know what I mean? And so, people would think I'm off my head, wouldn't they? They think I was insane, like... Right, I go back a step, and here's another one of my lunarscapes, like, another one of my pictures, you know, a rough picture, like what I did, like, right, I'll put it on full screen. I'll just go straight to it, right, pause it, like say, like a stone circle on the moon, do you know what I mean, like the black sky, and it's done on a program called Wet Paint on Windows 10, and it's kind of like, it looks like oil paint, doesn't it, on a canvas, so you see the texture and everything. That's actually a digital picture, that, like, it's meant to look rough, and you know what I mean, but it's the moon and, you know, the black sky and that, right? Because I have these visions that look like this, right, folks? You know... Have you ever seen those little fellas dancing on the moon, right? I'm telling you now, guys, it's mind-blowing. You get, like, shivers from head to toe, like a, you know, when you shiver when you hear a song, and it gives you a tingle down the spine. You get the ultimate tingle through your body. It's weird, man. You don't have to be intoxicated. Right. Now, let's go to another little thing. I just want to show you, before I go, I'm going to go off in a minute, right? Just to kind of, you know, get the imagination kind of fueled. I'll close that down completely. Right, and I'll go into my pictures. And I recently uploaded all my Apollo pictures, right, guys? I've got a load of pictures, you know, the Apollo missions, right? And, you know, I basically got a complete set of photographs that, you know, of the Apollo astronauts, what the Apollo astronauts were supposed, if anyone doesn't believe that the astronauts went to the moon, right, guys, all I can say is have a proper look at the photographs and you'll see what I mean, right? Now, where is it? Where have I put it? Like, space theme pics. I don't think it's that one. Alright, it's probably inside NASA and stuff. Here we go. Right, NASA and stuff. Now look at this for the picture, guys, right? You know Ed Mitchell, the astronaut who actually wrote a letter to me. He's passed on now, he's deceased now, he's on the other side, right? Now the best thing to do is look at the very latest pictures of Apollo, right? To get, you know, which is Apollo 17, right? Now here we go, look at this image, right? You see, like, the way I draw the pictures, me lunarscapes, you see how simple it is? You see how, you know, that's a photograph taken by Apollo 17. And you see the way the sky's black, and the greyness and the simplicity and the minimalism, but those little grey fellas could be hanging around there somewhere unseen, right? Right, but to get the best, like I say, look at the latest mission, which is Apollo 17, to get the best photographs, you know, the best variety of photographs, right? And you get this kind of, you know, you get this idea of like, wow, where's the one of the crater? Look at this, man. Yeah, look at that. That's a crater on the moon. With all the, like, there'll be diamonds and platinum everywhere here, you know, folks. It's one of the main reasons everyone's trying to work out Those little grey fellas won't let people take it all that, you see. I sound like a lunatic, don't I? Right. Now, here's a picture of the Earth, like, from the viewpoint, like, see. Let's zoom in. See the Earth there from space, from the moon. Right. Lovely photograph, I think. Right, but here's where we get crazy. Like I say, you get an idea of, because there's more photographs, because they spent longer time. They were nearly there for like 3 days or whatever on that mission, weren't they, Apollo 17? And they were right by the mountains as well, you see. So you can see, like, you see the mountains in the distance and that. Like, I think it's fascinating. I don't know how anyone can dismiss all this, you know. Right, but it's the blackness. It's that blackness, and that's what I tried to capture in my art. You know, that picture I just showed you of the aliens dancing, like, the little fellas dancing. Right, well, let's go back to Apollo 14, right? Apollo 14, Ed Mitchell, right? Now, Ed Mitchell, really interesting thing about Ed Mitchell. He wrote, I've got a letter from him, handwritten and signed. He signed it as well. He even gave me his autograph, basically, for nothing. I didn't have to pay him, you know what I mean? He wrote to me, right? And anyway, he took this photograph, right, guys? Ed Mitchell took this photograph, right? Now, you can see what he's taking a picture of. If you imagine being on the moon and how bright the light is, would you know, they'd have a visor down, wouldn't he? Like a gold visor to reflect the light so it doesn't damage their eyes, right? Now, imagine the brilliance and the magnitude of the light there. It'd be really bright. And he's taking a picture of this rock. You see the whiteness of this rock, right? Just imagine it from his perspective. If you're standing there and you're looking at that rock and the sunlight's really bright and you know, it's got to be really bright, hasn't it, right? And obviously, while he's photographing this rock, the brightness of the light would detract him from seeing this up in the sky. Can you see it there? Can you see it on the screen now? See that there in the distance? He might not have even noticed that was there, or he might have known it was there, right? But the interesting thing about Ed Mitchell is, is that one of Stanley Kubrick's moon pics. Now I've done a speech about that. There's a speech on YouTube, right? If you go in the search on my channel, it's called They Walked on the Moon. And I talk about why Stanley Kubrick was included in it. I do an actual interesting talk about it, right? So if you need to check it out, I mean, I'll show you in a minute, right? But anyway, this was taken by Ed Mitchell on the moon, right? If you don't think they were there, fair enough. But I actually, because he wrote to me, I got like a psychic, he gave me a psychic signal. He actually sent like an what's it called? Extrasensory perception, or ESP. I just got back here, so I will have to look back on your vid. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. Right, but anyway, look at this, man, when I zoom in, right. Now, this is the interesting thing about Ed Mitchell, right, is when he was back on the Earth and he was getting back to normal life, after the entire experience of him being on the moon, right, he went through a period where he had telepathy. He went through a period where his memory actually went. All his memories of being on the moon actually left his brain, right? And he was actually having a trouble dealing with it, thinking, did he actually go? Because he lost all his memory, right? Now, why would the military zap someone's memory, guys? It's like they must have hypnotised them. You've seen the Men in Black, when they use that light thing and they just flash it in their eyes and you forget everything in case you've seen an alien. Do you know what I mean? What they do in the Men in Black, they go, pew! You'll forget everything you've seen. You know what I'm saying, right? Now, they must have done that to Ed Mitchell, right? And he went to see a therapist, to have a regression, hypnosis and that, like, and they couldn't get into the recesses of his brain so that he could access his memories, right? But if he took this photograph, right, which you can see what he's doing, he's photographing the size of the rock in proportion to the landscape, if you know what I mean, right? But look at this, man, you zoom in, right, and this is clearly in the background. It's something floating in orbit around the moon, look. you see, it's like some kind of weird structure in the distance that's in orbit around the moon. Now, if he's seen that with his naked eye, and he actually saw it with his eyes, and he noticed it, and he's like, what's going on here? Or maybe he was trained to see it, and then when they get back, they zap the memory so they can't see it anymore, or they can't remember it. But yeah, I'll zoom back, and you see it's like, it's only tiny compared to the size of the picture, isn't it? Asteroid. Well, it could be, couldn't it? But there's not supposed to be any asteroids for the jellyfish. There's not supposed to be asteroids in orbit around the moon, is there? That must be gigantic. That must be huge. If it's, because, look, when you get you see how the sunlight, all the sunlight's hitting the surface there, and the shadows are going that way, aren't they, right? So that's obviously being hit by the sunlight. And I think he's caught that by accident, right? He's filmed that by accident. It's a photograph, remember? There is a hypnosis that stops you seeing it. Exactly. Oh my God, Bruce, that is true. Yeah. You see, they might have not been allowed to know about it themselves, right? But for them to actually zap his memory, Ed Mitchell complained about it, that he couldn't understand what happened to his memory, right? None of the other astronauts seemed to report that one, say the memories were zapped and that, it's Men in Black, isn't it? Pew! And they use that thing in Men in Black to it's only a film, but it's given some clues, isn't it? That, they use something to zap your memory in case you've seen evidence of alien life or extraterrestrial life. And that could be a big ancient ship or something, or a big craft of some kind, or a structure that's just floating around the moon. And that's what NASA are hiding. That's what they're keeping a secret, man. But you can clearly see there that if you were looking at that, it'd kind of be blinding, wouldn't it? Obviously, the photograph, the camera setting, is designed to take it but naked eye, he might not have been able to see that. You know what I mean? He might not have seen it. Or if he did see it, he was zapped, his brain was zapped so he couldn't remember it. So I'll leave you with that thought and the extraterrestrial thing. I mean, there's something over here on this side as well, look. I'll zoom right in and go up there. There's actually something there as well. But it's very tiny. But the magnitude of the sunlight on the moon would kind of conceal things. As I zoom back, you can still see it as I zoom back. Look, and that thing looks massive now, doesn't it, when you see that one there? Right, but there's been a couple of people said that Ed Mitchell must have seen things he wasn't meant to see. And they had to zap his memory, or he wasn't, in the know. And the other astronaut might have been in the know, and he's just but if based on my picture of the alien greys on the moon, which honestly, guys, I've seen that in a vision. I haven't made that image up in my head. I've seen it in the vision. But if you're unsure about the moon thing, I'll get on YouTube. So that's something I want to talk about a bit later on. Kind of stringing things together where, on the Earth, things move around in stone, you know what I mean? But look, I've got loads of photographs of all the Apollo missions, to be honest. And that's just Apollo 14, right? And see, I've got loads of them. Look, got the Apollo 17, 16, right up to it, the earlier missions. That's what an anorak I am, basically. Bruce is an anorak. It's confirmed. Confirmed anorak. Yeah, if you want to go to me videos, right? I'll just find it for you. If you want to search my videos, if you've never seen, because some old uploads you might have not seen. I'll just finding it now. Yeah, here it is, right? I'll just get it and show you a clip of it. And man, it's I look terrible in this video, to be honest, because right, there's the title. I'll just click it down so you can see it. Hold on. Right, bring it over. This is one of my speeches, by the way. It's a speech. I don't know if you're aware of this one. Hold on, get the screen back on. Right, okay. I don't know if have you seen this one, Dr. Soul is Dead? Doctor. Have you seen this video on my channel? Look, it's called They Walked on the Moon. It was uploaded in 2014, so we're talking a good 7 years ago, May the 11th, 2014, right? And I actually showed the letter that Ed Mitchell sent me. I'll show you now, like, okay. If you've never seen this, because I thought, you know, I do naturally think that if people come onto my channel and they buzz off my channel, they might scan through all the videos, but it is a pain, isn't it? You know, when you scan on, when you go onto the page and you're looking through old videos, it's a bit awkward, but this was my, you know, I did see that one, but I will check it. Oh, I didn't see, you haven't actually seen it? Cool, man, cool. So it's a good speech, you know, you're into my speeches, you'll like this one, right? And look at how I looked at, like, all that time ago. Right, dude, that's me, like, to God himself. Like, anyone who's had the information given to them by God certainly knows a lot more than the... Right, okay, so what I'll start doing is I do like loads, I'll show some really interesting pictures, right, including this one, punk rock. Look, this is kind of interesting, isn't it? You know what I mean? Stuff like, you know, there's all kinds of weird stuff out, clues out there to say, what are you all trying to keep quiet, guys? Right. But also, Jodrell Bank, which is a space telescope in not far away
Notice
from me, actually,
I haven't got thin
England.
lips.
That also picked up signals.
Look at the state of me.
And radio signals confirming that they landed on the moon as well. You know what I mean? When it was all happening. Another important note is in England, none of us, I was only 5, I was in bed, I had to be in school.
Well, Indians as in
right?
Asian Indians, isn't it?
None of us
honestly, I've got stuff to talk about the swastika and stuff. It's all to do. This is what I'm doing slowly, you see, guys. You know what I'm doing about the cobblestones and linking it all to Rome and things like that, right? And the Nazis, right? I will be talking about it, right? I've got some really interesting stuff to talk about. I don't want to do it now, you see. I don't want to give the game away. I've got some really interesting stuff to talk about the swastika, you see. Things that I've discovered myself, right? Now, I'll skip to the sort of end of this video, right? And I'll show you what I think. You know, Kubrick, all roads lead to Rome. So you're the second person who said that tonight. Don't know his name. I don't even want to remember his name, to be honest. Like, it's gutter journalism. Right, I'm talking about Bart Sibrel there, you know. Right, now I'll get to Kubrick, right? Yeah, this is the part in the... I'll show a little clip about what one of the astronauts talking about being his dream about the moon, right? Moon, which is quite interesting, I think, and I hope to... Hold on, let's skip. Here's me.
And the guy in the car dead was me, and so I saw myself dead
start this again.
On the moon, and
this is an outtake. There's a video of the astronauts, you know, one of these videos I bought about the astronauts, and in this clip, Charlie Duke is talking about a dream he had. I actually thought he was talking about a dream when he was actually on the moon, but no, it was a dream he had on Earth about when he was on the moon, right? And listen to what he says about meeting his double. You know, when people say you've got a double. It's quite interesting, right? I hope I don't get a copyright strike for this. See the magnitude. See the brightness, guys.
John and I were driving the lunar rover to the north, one of our objectives to the north. And as we came over the ridge and down in this little valley, there was this set of tracks. And
he's talking about a dream.
We were stunned. So we turned to the right, And we followed it for about a mile or so, and we came up over a rise, and there's this rover on the lunar surface with 2 astronauts just sitting there. And I ran over to the guy on the passenger side of the rover, and I pulled up his visor, his sun visor. And the guy in the car dead was me. And so I saw myself dead on the moon. And the other guy was John. That was probably the most vivid, real dream that I've ever had in my life. And what the meaning of it was, I don't know, but it was certainly vivid and certainly made an impression. When we sleep...
Action. Okay,
John Glenn.
one more point.
Yeah, no, he was talking about.
I
I think he was talking about what's his name? Is it John Young? I think it was Young and Charlie Duke, which was Apollo 16. It's Apollo 15 or 16. But it's Charlie Duke who's talking there, and the John he's talking about is Young, John Young, who was the commander of that mission. Man, I'm such an anorak with these things, you wouldn't believe it. A geek and nerd, right? Okay, here's what I to save me talking about it, I'll show you what I said about why I think Stanley Kubrick was included, right? You know, when they were going to ask Stanley Kubrick to do the stage set, right?
On this issue, that I have to remember to try and clear this issue, like, you know.
I've got the same shirt on, look.
Of the Apollo moon landings is a very important point.
I'm wearing that now.
In the first section of the speech, what I forgot.
2014.
As a recent thing, Stanley Kubrick. There's videos on YouTube about Stanley Kubrick saying he made the fake moon landing footage and stuff like that, right? It's crazy. You know what? You know, everyone jumping the gun, everyone making their own opinions, saying that, you know. And this is what I think is what it's all about, right? Kubrick was the finest cinematographer of his time, right? They just made 2001. It had a massive impact on the world. It was a, you know, major movie, right? Brilliant movie in the sense of simulation, of like showing things as close as possible. It's not actually about the moon, is it? It's about a moon of Jupiter, or, you know, that's what that, you know what I mean? This is the mystery. There's all kinds of stuff about Arthur C. Clarke. He's a bit of a weirdo. I won't go into anything in case I get done for slander. I think he was a pervert and he had all kinds. He was a paedophile or something like that. I don't want to go into that in this video, you know what I mean? I don't want it to be part of the scheme. But there's the big wigs and all the rich folks and the, you know, the authors and all those guys behind the movies and all those things, yeah. They're all weirdos, yeah. But Kubrick, right? Stanley Kubrick is, we're all familiar with the Eyes Wide Shut movie. We're all familiar with 2001: Space Odyssey and that kind of stuff, right? And his work is brilliant, you know what I mean? He's one of the true cinematographers out there, you know what I mean? It's an art form, and he does it for that reason, right? And what he's good at is blowing the gaff and saying, you know, this is a lie, that's a lie. I believe he was responsible for the movie AI in the first place, and he was trying to blow the gaff on pedos with robots and stuff. They have, you know, kids, robot kids and that, like, and things like that. Oh man, it's just the kind of stuff that makes your skin crawl, right? But don't want to go into all that, right? I'm just basically saying I'll probably do a video upload on what I think of Eyes Wide Shut if people are interested enough in this video, what I've uploaded, right? But why would they ask Stanley Kubrick to say, film a moon set, you know, or film these astronauts in like a moon set as accurately as possible so that it looks real?
you know, because he was a movie director, he was good at what he did, right? He was a cinematographer, right? Probably the finest of his day, back in the time when the Apollo landings were happening, yeah. Bearing in mind, all the Apollo footage is real, so they didn't need to fake it, did they, if it's genuine, right? And you can see it, I don't know, the camera never lies, there's a saying, the camera never lies, unless it's photoshopped, right? But they didn't have that kind of stuff back then, but I don't know, there's all kinds of elements to it where you can't tell, you know, you can tell it's not faked, right? Don't want to argue about it, don't want to be going into arguments, unless people really do produce legitimate arguments, right, which I haven't seen any yet so far. I've just seen mad speculation.
In Close Encounters, they take a kid, don't they?
Futuristic.
They take a kid from his house.
Out in space, there's a point where humanity is helped by an alliance of some kind. That's where NASA gets its technology from as well, right? I don't know what you want to call them, like interdimensional. I don't know. Goodies and baddies, you know, the light and the darkness. You know what I mean? Well, I think Kubrick was called into the picture, right, because he was the best at what he did. And I think that, like, say there was live footage of them on the moon, when it was live broadcasts, not the footage that they brought back in cameras that they filmed themselves, which had to be developed, and it could be edited anyway, remember, anything they filmed themselves with the, you know, the actual, the cine cameras and all that, like, that was going to be edited anyway, so none of us were going to see the big picture there, were we? If anyone got caught on camera by accident, or they said they filmed a spaceship, or they filmed an obelisk or a stone circle, or, you know, ancient swords left by ancient warriors, or stuff like that, you know, wink wink, say no more, nod nod, wink wink. Ancient suits of armour and helmets and shields and swords left by ancient space warriors and ancient astronauts and that kind of stuff. Like, you know, if they caught any of that on camera, there was going to be you know, people analysing everything and cutting that out anyway before it reached the public. But when it comes to live television, right, like I mentioned earlier about when I was in school and we all sat in the hall and we were watching it live while it was on the telly. Let's just say, for example, the camera pans and shows an ancient monument by accident, or a pyramid, or an obelisk on camera, and all of us kids go, "Oh look, there's a pyramid and that." Well, they'd have a delay, wouldn't they? They'd have a relay, they'd have an expert and a relay who'd say, "Quick, switch to the fake stage set." And they'd have a fake stage set, sure enough, but not, you know, not to say pretend they went on the moon, but just to edit out anything interesting or anything, any anomalies or anything that they didn't want the public to see. And Stanley Kubrick was probably asked to make that fake stage set, you know, like a mirror image kind of thing, like a complete, like, replica setup, and they'd mimic the astronauts' movements and everything. They'd need a director and a choreographer and everything to sort of make sure that the phony astronauts were standing in the same positions as the astronauts on camera on the moon. You know what I mean? And, you know, bearing in mind the television pictures aren't as clear as cine footage or film that's taken out of camera and developed. Anything that was live broadcast, I mean, even if you watch a football match from the 70s that's broadcast live, you'll see it's not very clear. You know, it's not high definition or anything like that. Or if you watch a, you know, coronation or anything live, anything broadcast live on television in the 60s or the 70s even up to the 80s is kind of like misty, poor quality, yeah. So it would have been very easy for Kubrick to make up this stage set and have the cameras sort of fuzzy and whatever to look the same. And then, you know, they catch an obelisk, a monolith, a pyramid by accident on camera, and some guy in Houston says, "Flick to the replica stage set quick, because we just, you know, we've allowed a certain thing and we don't want anyone to see." So in steps Kubrick with his stage set, and it's like, says, "Action!" And then there's, you know, there's all these phony astronauts acting and pretending on a phony stage set, where there's obviously no obelisks or not like that, but it's very easy to, you know, simulate like the grey background and the black sky, isn't it? You know what I mean? It'd be quite simple, really, but they'd need a master of the eye, wouldn't they? A master of the camera to make sure it was perfect, so it looked exactly the same as what they were flicking from. So, you know, I don't know, you got that point. Do you understand what I'm saying there? Why I think Kubrick was involved in the whole thing, like, And then bearing in mind, if you want to see my analysis of what I think of Eyes Wide Shut, whew, you know, the moon is a mirror, right? There's a whole connection there, guys, right? I haven't even seen The Shining. I haven't even seen that movie myself personally. I'm like nearly 50. I'm 49 years old, and it's 2014.
I've seen it now, like.
I haven't even seen The Shining. Because I didn't think it'd be much of a good movie, do you understand? I'm not really interested in Kubrick to that extent. I'm just kind of like, I saw Eyes Wide Shut by accident, and it blew me mind because of what he was telling us, you know what I mean? Because of what he was revealing, like, yeah. Apparently in The Shining, there's all kinds of hints about Apollo 11 and stuff like that. And oddly enough, there's twins in it, isn't there? There's two girls that are supposed to be twins, and they're supposed to be ghosts, aren't they? The ghosts from the dead, you know what I mean? But they're identical. When the camera's on them, don't they look like a mirror? Do they not look like a sort of mirror image of one another? Like, as though it's one girl standing right next to a mirror, right? Bearing in mind the moon is a mirror and a cultist mirror and all that kind of stuff, yeah. But yeah, that's my thoughts, that's my reflection. If Kubrick was involved in making a fake moon stage set or fake astronauts and all that, it was just so that they could flick the camera to a stage set if anything happened crazy. If an alien walked past, if a fucking... oh, I got this far without swearing, you know what I mean? I swore, like... If an alien grey walked past, or a spaceship flew past in the background, or what the astronauts used to refer to affectionately as critters. Critters, wink wink, nod nod, say no more. The astronauts used to say, oh no, there's critters going by there. You know, they'd say critters, like, and I think they were talking about actual living creatures of some kind on the moon, yeah. All kinds of mischief and stuff goes on the moon, guys, you know what I mean? There's all kinds of weird stuff, like, you know, but I don't know. It's not for me to go into that argument, is it? All I know is, like, I believe in God, I know what's good and I know what's bad, you know, that God divided the light from the darkness and saw that the light was good and the darkness was not. The darkness was bad. Take that into consideration, right, guys? Well, I think I've covered everything now. I think for me arguments, for the, like, any arguments, anyone wants to post any arguments below and, you know, give me some stick and have a go at me, like, and say, that's not true, this is not true, yeah. Say what you want to say, guys, because I'm sure I'll produce a sort of legitimate argument to argue back, like, you know what I mean? But I don't profit from this, I'm not making any money, I'm not an astronaut. Well, no, I could have been an astronaut in certain circles, but I don't want to talk about that, like. You know, I was like, I might have been used for things without being told, but that's not the point, you know what I mean? But
I was an astronaut.
You know, the Apollo astronauts, the 12 people that said they walked on the moon, are not telling lies, they did walk on the moon. They might be hiding things, but they've been told not to speak about it, right? And they're mind controlled, they're also mind controlled to a degree. Obviously, they had to be to get it perfect, you know what I mean? To push the right buttons, to do the right, to say the right things and all the rest of it, right? There's all kinds of disinformation on YouTube, guys, there's all kinds of weird shit like that, like, you know, you can just tell it's fake when people are sort of kind of like trying to bullshit things. You can just see that they're phonies. Whereas I'm sitting here in front of a camera, showing me face and everything, roller coaster ride, spread the message, share me videos, pass the word. And, you know, I don't know.
Buzz Aldrin vomits when asked about the moon. Well, what does Stanley Kubrick do in Clockwork Orange? You know, the character that Malcolm McDowell plays, Alex, he's been really naughty, hasn't he? And they've given this treatment in jail to stop him being naughty. And as soon as he thinks of being naughty, he goes, doesn't he? It's like he's going to throw up, you know what I mean? The mind control. They've actually... It's a Kubrick movie, isn't it? Clockwork Orange, you know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? When they've reformed him and he's got out of jail... When he starts thinking evil or he even thinks about it, he goes to throw up, doesn't he? He gets this thing in his stomach, it makes him go like a belch. They did Clockwork to me. It wasn't... You wasn't actually naughty enough. falsely accused. Right. I mean, you know, the first time I saw Clockwork Orange, right, I've actually put a speech up about it. Anyway, that was my point about the thingy anyway. If that's it, you can watch that speech anytime if you want to watch the whole thing. It's quite interesting, guys. It's got a lot of, you know, I go on about this stuff, you know, the sites and everything. The landing sites and all that kind of stuff. It's my little argument that I'm sure they went to the moon, right? So if you want to watch all that, it's very interesting. I'll show you the, here's the letter Ed Mitchell wrote to me. I actually put it on the screen for you to see. Look. This is actually a handwritten letter from Edgar Mitchell. See in the top corner there, Apollo 14. October the 8th, 1992. I wrote a letter to him and he actually wrote back to me. There it is. Right. That's why I think I respect them. If I wrote a letter to Freddie Mercury, he wouldn't have wrote back to me. If you write a letter to the Queen, she won't write back to you. You know what I mean? This guy walked on the moon and he wrote a letter back to me, like. Do you want me to read it for you? It says, Dear Bruce, look, he even put my name. This is a proper letter from an astronaut. Dear Bruce, I understand your experience and encourage your interest. I cannot give you the other astronauts' addresses, but the astronaut office at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, will probably forward your letters. Thank you for your efforts and insights, Edgar Mitchell. Is that mad or what? I've still got the letter, you know what I mean? He's passed on now. He's on the other side, like. But because he hand wrote the letter to me, I got ESP off him as well, guys, and I saw things. I've actually seen his eye view on the moon. Let's put it that way, right? But anyway, going back to Kubrick and Clockwork Orange, let's get me image back up. So if you want to watch that video, it's very interesting, that Doctor, if you know Dr. Soul is dead. It's called They Walked on the Moon Part 1, My Perspective, and I'd carry on. I haven't done Part 2, because look how many views it's had. 83 views, 4 likes. This guy who put the comments here, he's gone. He doesn't follow me anymore. Look, it's just one person. No one else commented. Don't you think that's strange? There's nobody else even commented on it, like. Because I'm actually proving that they walked on the moon in this video. I've done my best to prove a lot of things in my own words, obviously, right? But the interesting thing about Kubrick, the first time I watched Clockwork Orange, right, it was a friend in Liverpool. He was a Scouser. Bruce, I'm getting an image of you looking at porn pics on paper and then bailing. Porn is actually live sex. Do you know that? You know, in the Bible, right? Here, there's a point about porn, right? You know the word pornography? Pornography, right? It's live sex. You know, when we're not meant to see, like, married couples having sex, or, you know, the way you can go into Amsterdam and pay for... By the way, while I was in Amsterdam, I didn't do nothing sexual, you know what I mean? I went through the red light district and had a look around, but I didn't do anything, right? I just got stoned, basically. But pornography is actually live sex. It's when people are orgiastic kind of routines, you know, where people perform like a performance in front of people, right? And we're not supposed to do that. Obviously, it's common sense, isn't it? We're supposed to be private when we have sex and all that kind of stuff, right? It's live sex, right? Because in the Bible it says pornography, you know what I mean? You're not meant to do this and do that, right? Now, when the Bible was written, there was no cameras, was there? There was no cameras, either visual, you know, just photograph cameras, you know, what we call stills camera, and there was no video cameras or movie cameras, right? So what else could it be but live sex? Do you understand? Well, yeah, it wrecks people's heads. It makes them perverts, doesn't it? You know what I mean? I like a bit of erotica. I like naughty chicks, you know what I mean? But I don't need it, you know. If I'm in a relationship, you know what I mean? Which I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm a bachelor, you get me? Like, when we're single and we're hot-blooded males still, I'm still quite virile, like. If any women are watching, by the way, and they're single, and they want to give me a shout. But yeah, that's the proof though, isn't it? How can pornography be like just pictures or paintings or photographs? You know, magazines, what we call lads mags, magazines, centerfolds. How can pornography be that when there was no cameras back in the day, when the Bible is writing about, it uses the word pornography to describe whatever's not allowed, which has got to be live sex, hasn't it? That's the only way you could have dabbled in sexual activity outside of marriage. Do you know what I mean? It's fornication. Or softcore. Well, they're just photographs, aren't they? Exactly. They're just like you know, like films, like you know, the kind of stuff if you went to the cinemas and you went to see an over 18 movie, like there's a famous film called what's it called? Emmanuel. You know the movie Emmanuel? It's called Emmanuel. Sylvia Crystal was in it. I went to cinema to see that. You know what I mean? I had to lie my age. I had to say I was 18. I was only 16 or something. And there wasn't much in it. You know what I mean? There was no live sex in it. It was kind of like you could see it was acted. You know what I mean? You know, you've seen a bit of nudity and all that, like, but television's even worse than that these days. You know what I mean? I think boobs were allowed to be shown. Well, boobs. Well, you go to a beach, wouldn't you? You go to a beach and women wearing swimming costumes as virtually, or a nudist beach or whatever, and you know, there's no sex going on, is there? If you say you went to a nudist beach, you know, where people are allowed to be naked, that's not pornography, is it? Unless they're all banging each other or having sex on the beach, like. But they can't. Godly, exactly, Emmanuel. You know what I mean? Sylvia Crystal, she was in the film, like, but it was really softcore, and that was in a cinema, like, you know what I mean? But how can pornography be pictures or videos when they didn't have cameras? You know what I'm saying? Back in when the Bible was written, you know, those words were written, like when they used the word pornography specifically, you know. But anyway, back to me. My friend in Liverpool, someone I knew in Liverpool, he was older than me. It was when I was like 20 something. This guy was 40 something, right? And he got Clockwork Orange on a bootleg. It was before it was even allowed. Now you can watch it now, can't you? You can buy it and everything, but it was banned. It was still banned when he managed to get hold of it, right? And yeah, some nude stuff on temples as well. Yeah, naked figures everywhere though, isn't it? In statues and things, right? But this guy, he actually managed to get all the Clockwork Orange before it was legally available, right? And he said to me, "You want to come to mine and watch? I've got Clockwork Orange, like a bootleg. It's an import from France or somewhere. You know what I mean? Where it was, people could get hold of it." And I didn't even know what it was. I'd been told about it, but I didn't have a clue what the film was about, right? And I sat next to him, and we had a toke of weed. We had like a toke of weed, so that obviously made me, you know, when weed makes you laugh, right? And the pair of us, he's a Scouser, right? He's a proper full-blown Scouser, Liverpudlian. And Scousers are meant to have the best sense of humour on the planet, right? I'm from Birkenhead, which is the other side. I showed you the map before, you know, the Wirral is on the other side of the River Mersey from Liverpool, right? But that's our nearest city is Liverpool. And I'm sitting next to this Scouser, and he puts the videotape on of Clockwork Orange for the very first time. I'd never seen it, didn't know nothing about it. I was like, whoa, this is going to be interesting. The Stanley Kubrick movie that was banned for years, right? You know what I mean? And he puts it on, right? And as soon as the film started, and like, you know, because we were both stoned as well, I started laughing my head off, right? I started laughing, right? And even, you know, the bits that are meant to be shocking and the rape scenes or whatever. Obviously, Stanley Kubrick, remember, these are actors and actresses. There's one thing about Stanley Kubrick movies, you can see they're like stage plays, aren't they? They're not totally convincing visually. You can tell they're actors and actresses reading a script, right? And think about it, the women in the Clockwork Orange film would have signed the contract and read the script and everything, and they knew what they were doing. They were playing a part of being raped and victimised or whatever, like. But it was to get this humorous, like, perspective that Stanley Kubrick was trying to achieve, right? None of us knew that, though, did we? You know what I mean? And people, when it was released, that's why Kubrick pulled it off the, you know, sort of banned it, because no one got it. They didn't realise it. And there were gangs going around pretending to be the gang, you know, in real life. There were, like, lads going around, teenagers, dressed like the gangs in Clockwork Orange, beating back people up and stuff, you know, because they saw the film. Because they took it literally, right? They didn't see the humour, right? And I was sitting there watching this film, right? And I kept, you know, when you're in school and you're trying not to laugh and the teachers are giving you a slap for laughing, I kept bursting out laughing, you know, especially the end, you know, when he's being the karma. He's the bits when he thinks of evil and he goes, and he belches and stuff, you know what I mean? I was laughing my head off, right? And this Scouse lad sitting next to me, he was going, he wasn't laughing at all, right? He didn't even see anything funny in it at all. And he was going, that's sick, that, Bruce. You're sick, you lad. Why are you laughing at that? That's sick. He was accusing me of being like either a pervert or sick or, you know, either like a psychopath or something, right? And I said to him, can't you see that this is meant to be funny, man? The very first time I saw it, I realised it was a black comedy, you know, like obviously adult humour, you know what I mean, what we call black comedy. And I was like, can't you see this is supposed to be funny? And he was going, nah, he just wouldn't have it, but he was a Catholic and I wasn't, you see. He was like, you know, that Catholic indoctrination where they think things are bad when they're not. You know, like even when you say fuck in the streets in front of some Catholics, they think you're a sinner. You know, because the priests have put that in their heads and everything. They make them think that, like, you know, if you steal a pint of milk, you're a sinner. If you say naughty words like fuck or bastard or, you know, you say naughty words, right? They pile the guilt onto you as if you're doing something wrong, so that then they'll say, like, you should be punished for that. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. So I'm not blaming the Catholic people, am I? I'm talking about, like, what the priests have done to them in the Vatican, which looks like a snake. Sarcastically. But anyway, he was a proper heavy-duty Catholic, right? And he was going, as soon as I laughed, I felt like a kid in school, man, trying not to laugh. I was like, oh my word, I'm not supposed to laugh here, because he's going mad at me, and he was going, that's not funny, that, la. That's not funny, you're sick, you, la. And I was going, can't you see this is meant to be funny? And he's going, nah, and he just wouldn't have it. He was just going, nah, that's sick, that, la. You're sick, you, la. You know what I mean? He was going mad at me, and I was thinking, oh my word, I can't even help laughing here, mate. The rest of the film, it was like hell on earth for me, you know, because I was trying not to laugh. I was laughing my head off. I kept bursting out laughing. He was looking at me as if to say, I'm not impressed about this, Bruce, you know what I mean? You're sick, lad. Right. And then years later, when we go on YouTube and we see all these interviews with Malcolm McDowell and that, right? And Malcolm McDowell has an interview with him where he goes, well, people didn't realise when it was released that Stanley meant it to be a comedy. You know what I mean? But obviously an adult comedy. So as soon as I heard Malcolm McDowell say that, I was like, you know, like the guilt was lifted off my shoulders. Like, I was right, because I was laughing my head off, man. I saw the funny side completely. You know, when you watch the whole film, it's about karma, isn't it? You know, he gets all the bad stuff, comes back to him, doesn't it? You know what I mean? He does he's like the wickedest, most evil bastard on earth. And then he gets the karma all comes back on him, like, you know what I mean? And that's the funniest part of the movie, really, is when all the karma is returned to him, isn't it? You know what I mean? But this Scouse lad wouldn't let me breathe. I was like, oh man, I felt guilty just for laughing. Because at the time, I still didn't know it was meant to be a comedy. I just thought, in my own head, I was thinking, this is funny as fuck, and I can't help laughing, man, you know what I mean? So I was saying it to him, I was going, can't you see this is meant to be funny? And he was going, nah, la, that's sick, that, la. That's sick, that. So thank goodness he wasn't a priest or a bishop, innit? I would have been in the stocks, wouldn't I? They would have took me to jail. You know, but it's proof that people get the perception wrong, isn't it? You know what I mean? So anyway, I think I've said enough tonight. But yeah, if you want to watch that video, it's they walked on the moon. You probably enjoy it yourself, to be honest, like, because there's a lot of interesting points. It's quite witty as well, like, you know, the score with me, like, yeah, the people who went through this might have orange juice served to them. I served orange juice to a pilot from Top Gun, the movie. Because of my musical ties, you know, I've mixed with people who are really good musicians. Like, I think a lot of them were pilots and they didn't realise it, you know what I mean? Yeah, okay. Yeah, check the vid out. Yeah, it's called They Walked on the Moon. You know, you've got to go in the search, haven't you? Search my channel, like. And there's quite a few speeches there you might not have seen yet, you know what I mean? It sort of fills the gaps, you know, that's why I don't really do many speeches, right? Because I think I've spoke about a lot of issues, you know what I mean, already. My aunt had me do it. He stayed at her home. Yeah, he was making me feel like a sinner, you know what I mean? I was like, you're a sinner, you Bruce, you're a sinner. I was like, oh my word, no, you're getting it wrong. Kubrick's meant to be making me laugh. That's what it's supposed to be. Yeah, so there you go. That's what. Yeah, the Ed Mitchell letter as well. I do talk about it and everything like. So yeah, I'm getting off now. We've actually done the magic 3 hour mark tonight. I've really gone really deep into 3 hours, man. So yeah, so only 2 people watching at the moment. I'm not sure who the other one is, but whoever it is, thanks for watching. And share this video. Catholics intentionally do that crap. Exactly, they make you feel good. Have you seen Lawnmower Man? You know the movie Lawnmower Man? You seen the beginning, his dad, the reason his dad's a Catholic priest, isn't he? And he's whipping him with a belt. He's saying, you're a sinner, you're evil. And he's whipping him like, okay, I'll see you soon. And yeah, thanks for watching. Anyone who watches this tomorrow or whenever, like, and share the video or whatever if you can. And yeah, you know the score. Rollercoaster Ride signing out. It's time for bed. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be back very soon.